red, and she nodded shyly. He treats me very well. Sometimes when I don't have too much schoolwork, he will buy me my favorite snacks. His father is also very good to me. Whenever he has something good or fun, I will ask him to send it to me. In short, everything is fine. Moreover, as long as he does not change his original intention towards me, I will always live a good life with him. No matter whether he can pass the imperial examination in the future, if not, we can just live a down-to-earth life like ordinary people in Xiangzhou City. Yang Qingqing has thought of everything, including plans for the future. Suwon knew from her expression that she was in the passionate love period, but after listening to her talk about Yurun's various behaviors, he felt that this man was not bad. The uncle's family went back at night, and Su-yun and Su-yi came over to ask Suwon for gifts. Because Suwon said before that he had prepared gifts for them. Suwon prepared a recipe for Su-yun that she had specially collected from Zhongzhou, and a set of drawing pens for Su-yi. Various thicknesses and models, made of high-quality materials and exquisitely made. These are specially customized by Suwon, and each brush has his signature, Wu Yang Jusher, engraved on it. Su-yun became interested when he saw the menu and started flipping through it immediately. There were many local specialties of Zhongzhou recorded on it. Su-yi also liked this gift very much. He just wanted to customize a set of professional paintbrushes like this. Suwon understood what he was thinking. This time, the two brothers were finally completely coaxed and were no longer angry. Suwon knew that she would be bullied by her fourth brother when she returned, but fortunately, she had made preparations in advance. There were a lot of things to do as soon as I came back. Suwon was particularly busy and had to look at the account books. There was no problem with the account book brought by my uncle, and there was no problem with the account book of Xiangzhaotang General Store brought by Yang Qingqing. But because Yang Qingqing is a novice after all, the account book still has some shortcomings and is not concise enough. It's good to be able to achieve this level. She has just started this business, so just take it slow. Now, he still has to deal with the problem of those spies. As for how to deal with them, it really gives Suwon a headache. So, Suwon asked his fourth and fifth brothers for their opinions. Su-yun didn't know what to do. He couldn't beat him to death. He felt that the crime didn't deserve the death penalty, but he couldn't sentence him easily either. They had suffered a lot during this period of being locked up in the woodshed, but it was impossible for them to continue making soap. Su-yi had a different idea from Su-yun. He felt that once betrayed, he would never be used again in his life. But like Su-yun said, the crime does not deserve the death penalty. They are not the kind of evil family that would beat and kill people at will, but they cannot be allowed to have an easy life. It is impossible to let them go. If they can be bribed once, they can be bribed a second time. The offenders this time are 3 maids and 2 male servants. The maids will be sent to do menial work in the workshop doing laundry. They will have to wash everyone's clothes. The 2 male servants will be assigned to empty the nightshade. They will be put in iron chains on their feet and be under strict watch. They can't run away. This was Su-yi's idea, and Suwon thought it was feasible. Now, the total number of people working in the entire workshop is at least 60, if not 80. These tasks are enough for them to do, doing the dirtiest and most tiring work and barely surviving. The next day, Su-yun and Su-yi accompanied Suwon to the workshop. Several workshops are arranged in an alley, not far from each other, just a few steps away. When Suwon came back, the workers in the workshop, both men and women, were very happy and greeted her enthusiastically. When Suwon came back this time, he learned about those dirty things. There must be rewards and punishments. They have made contributions during the Grain and Ear Festival. Each of them will be rewarded with 10 taels of silver, as well as a pair of jewelry earrings or pearl flowers. To Dashu and Xiaoshu, but their jewelry was converted into cash, 15 taels per person. They were men, and had no need for those jewelry. Suwon asked them to go to the woodshed and bring out the traitors. They had not washed for a long time, and their feces and urine were all in the woodshed. Once they were brought out, the smell was so bad that they wanted to vomit. Suwon covered his nose with a handkerchief. Su-yun made a look of disgust and pinched his nose tightly. All the workers in the workshop were called by their uncle and watched the fate of the traitor. When the 5 men saw Suwon coming, They thought she was going to kill them. They were so scared that they knelt down and begged for mercy, kowtowing repeatedly. "Boss, we know we were wrong. Please spare us. We won't do it again. Please forgive us." They wanted to come up and pull Soo-won's skirt, but were stopped by several guards brought by Soo-won. "When you did those things, you should have thought about this day. You dared to do such things despite being servants. What benefits did they give you? Is it to give you endless wealth or to promise to free you from servantry? No matter how much money you have, where can you escape to in your lifetime as a servant? Besides, your indenture is with me. Can they find a way to steal it from me?" Soo-won felt that they all had idiot brains. She did not promise these later comers when to denaturalize them, and it was impossible for her to promise all of them. If they all left by then, who would work for her? As for Mangjong and the others, if they continue to perform well, it is not impossible to return their indentures to them and train them to be useful people. Mainly depends on one's character. If someone is capable of great use, she will definitely be willing to give him a chance. "Uncle, I've thought about it. It would be unlucky to kill them. Let's send the women to be laundry maids. From now on, everyone's dirty clothes will be taken off and washed by them. If they are not clean, they will be washed again. They will eat at the end of the meal and eat whatever is left. As for those two, they will be responsible for everyone's night incense from now on. Put on anklets to prevent them from running away. I have already given you a lenient sentence and spared your lives. Everyone else listen to me. I will give you a respectable life. If you look down on me and do something that harms my interests, then I will not be so good-tempered. If you commit the same offense again, you will be taken directly to the government office and punished with a cane." My uncle nodded, which was considered as his approval of Soo-won's way of handling the matter. It was also considered as a lesson, and it also let others know that they were not easy to fool. After Soo-won finished his speech, everyone present knelt down and expressed their opinions. "Please rest assured, sir. We will not do anything that would harm the interests of the workshop, and we will never be traitors." After Soo-won finished dealing with the matter, he did not stay any longer. Next, she would have to go to Yuntang's shop to check out the business of other small shops in Xiangzhou. As for Cheonyang, I heard that she is back, and I want to ask her to meet me. Cheonyang's visit might have to be postponed for 2 days. Soo-won agreed to visit his fifth brother's painting studio, and also had to accompany his fourth brother to plan the restaurant, so he was very busy. He renovated the fifth brother's painting studio, making it more elegant than before. The painting studio now only accepts some portrait jobs. All the paintings on the wall have been taken down. Only 2 paintings are produced each year. According to Soo-won, 2 paintings a year are too many. After the fifth brother became famous, it is not a good thing to have too many paintings lost in the open. Soo-yi had to stay in the shop, and Soo-won followed Soo-yun to see the restaurant. This was originally a 2-story small tea house, and the area of the 2 floors combined is probably more than 300 square meters. The kitchen is not included. In the future, this place will be dedicated to meals and will not provide accommodation. The location is okay. Although it is not on the most prosperous street, it is close to the central area. With some good promotion, there should be no problem with business. Soo-yun is now looking for someone to do the renovation. He has a general idea of the direction, but he still needs Soo-won's advice on the details. He is also custom-making the tables and chairs. He is not trying to save money on purpose. Soo-won said that if it is not enough, she can still borrow some. The fourth brother, in the original book, according to the timeline, he opened a small restaurant in Chinga County in the first half of last year. It was the kind of restaurant that was located in a remote area, not very large, and had a very ordinary environment. At that time, he had limited money, so he had to take his time in everything. He relied solely on his imagination, innovation, and good taste to attract customers. In the first year, and then went to Xiangzhou to open a slightly larger restaurant. After running it for 2 years, it became popular in Xiangzhou. After that, I took all the funds and went to Kyoto to do something big, ready to go all out. As a result, I turned it into the best restaurant in the local area in terms of taste and environment. Now, the fourth brother's development is a little late, but it doesn't matter. The direct starting point is Xiangzhou. With Soo-won's intervention, He changed his mindset this time and went for the high-end route, making exquisite dishes and relying on chili peppers to establish a unique cuisine. After the opening, there will be only one such restaurant in the world, and one can imagine how popular it will be. Because of her arrival, it seems that the fate of all the brothers has changed and is developing in a better direction. In the original novel, the eldest brother went from being the third place in the imperial examination to the first place in the imperial examination, while the second brother only received the teachings of Grandma Yi Qinggu in the later stage of the novel, but now it has been advanced by several years. On the third brother's side, but there are also some changes. Just like now, the fourth brother skipped the gradual reform process and directly raised the starting point. The fifth brother also achieved success and gained fame in Xiangzhou in advance, instead of just showing his prominence in the later period. Fourth brother's restaurant hasn't been named yet because he has been waiting for 2 months, so now he has to open the restaurant quickly. In terms of decoration, Suwon suggested that the more elegant and high-end the better, because if you cook exquisite dishes, your environment must match the price. We also need to recruit waiters. Suwon can help with the counter in the early stages. Fourth brother also needs to find a kitchen team. It will be impossible for him to handle the kitchen alone. Wouldn't he be exhausted? The uniqueness of their restaurant cuisine lies in the chili pepper. As long as they master the chili growing technique and the method of making chili powder and chili sauce, they don't have to worry about others stealing their skills. By then, no one else will be able to get a piece of the pie because they are the only one of their kind. In addition, the restaurant must need a variety of raw materials, such as meat, vegetables, rice, flour, oil, firewood, etc. And the sources must be found in advance. Soo-yun was quite sensible. He had not done nothing in the past 2 months. He had found the suppliers of the raw materials. The only things he hadn't thought about were the decoration and the signboard. As for what name to use for this project, Soo-yun hoped that Suwon would come up with one. He had thought of many names, but they were either too vulgar or unoriginal, so he simply waited for Suwon to come up with one. All pretty good, such as Furong Cottage and Yuyan Hall. Suwon thought about it for several nights and finally decided on a few names and let everyone choose. Baxianzai, Daoxiong Village, Don't Stop Drinking, Get Drunk Today, Chenglu. All 5 names are good, take your pick. Su's father and mother both think that Baxianzai is good, Su-yi likes Beimoding, and Suwon personally likes Jinzuozui and Chenglu. The former is elegant, while the latter is more grand and catchy. But Soo-yun prefers Daxiankan. He thinks this name is particularly interesting and eye-catching. Since he is the one who runs the restaurant, then let him choose. However, Soo-yun trusts Suwon's vision more, so in the end, he lets Suwon make the decision. If Suwon had to choose, then it would definitely be Chenglu. This name has the potential to become a hit. When it becomes popular, it will sound very high-end. In this case, we finally decided on Chenglu as the name of the restaurant sign, and immediately found someone to make it custom-made. The font had to be beautiful, and the sign had to be grand and not petty. Things on Soo-yun's side have been roughly settled, and he's just waiting for everything to be in place and to choose a day to open. As for Suwon, he had to go see Cheon-yang right away and listen to her report on the business summary of Bingjitang in the past 6 months. In fact, you can see when you pass by that Bingjitang's business is really good. The people coming and going are all rich ladies and daughters dressed in luxurious clothes. We agreed to meet at the moonlit West Tower, and Cheon-yang was already waiting there. She brought with her a stack of accounts, which contained all the expenses and incomes of the Bingjitang workshop. Just half a year, Bingjitang's net income reached more than 30,000 taels of silver, approaching 40,000 taels. Suwon looked at the numbers above and was quite satisfied. All of Bingjitang's products have been widely praised and are very popular among customers. Cheon-yang also took the opportunity to develop the rouge and powder business and compete with Yummy and Taohua. Madame Xie is busy every day trying to keep her business. Because of the existence of Bingjitang, all her wealthy customers have been taken away, and the rest are ordinary consumers who can only afford small items. Suwon looked at the accounts carefully, and she fully recognized Cheon-yang's abilities. Cheon-yang calculated last year's surplus, went to the money shop and exchanged it for silver notes, and divided the profits between Su Wan and Jiang Yu. She brought contained Su Wan's share. Jiang Yu's share temporarily and give it to him after he returned from the battlefield. Since we have agreed on it before, we must do it. Now I will give him 30% of the profits. For Jiang Yu, these are just small amounts of money, as long as Su Wan is happy. In addition, Qianyang wanted to take advantage of the current good business to open branches one after another and expand the business territory. She came here today specifically to discuss this matter with Su Wan. If she wanted to open a branch, she would have to ask her for money. Boss, our Bingjitang has now stabilized in Xiangzhou. Business is good, and we have made some money. So I am thinking of opening branches in several nearby states, and the main workshop will be in Xiangzhou. What do you think? By then, there will be a change in manpower. I will recruit a large number of craftsmen to work in the workshop. Originally, this plan was to be implemented after the new year, but you have not returned, so I have to ask for your opinion. Now that you are back, I think this matter should not be delayed any longer.
Shuwan nodded.
Qianyang was also devoted to Bingjitang, and she herself was also planning to open branches this year. Plant trees early and enjoy the shade early. When the business of Bingjitang is stable, when we get to Kyoto, if the matter really gets to the emperor, we can use Yuyintang as a cover. With such a large industry, when the Jin state had just finished a war and the treasury was empty, the industry chain of goat milk soap could always shut up those ministers and also make the emperor feel at ease. If all else fails, she can donate some money privately. On the surface, they have emptied out all their savings. Their loyalty is evident to all. If it were them, would they be so determined and willing to give so much? Everything is up to you, but you'll have to work hard in the future. After the work is done, I will increase your monthly salary by 200 taels of silver. Is that okay? He does so much to deserve this monthly salary, but she still thinks it is too little. What she does as a hands-off boss is really unique. Basically, she never worried about Bingjitang and only took a look at the workshop. Anyway, everything was in order, much more neat and tidy than her Yuyintang. Su Wan had to learn these things from her. Then I won't be polite with you. I don't mind having too much money. Qianyang is a very straightforward person, and Su Wan likes dealing with her. The matter of opening a branch was decided. I would go to Suzhou and Yenzhou first, and giving her 12,000 taels of silver as startup capital should be enough. Before they knew it, more than 3 months had passed since Su Wan and Jiang Yu separated, and they finally received a letter from the border. Jiang Yu's letter said that war had already broken out on the border. He found Su Chun in the recruit camp and transferred him to work under Duke Jiang. Su Chun was fine and told his family not to worry. He said the knee pads made by Wanwan were really useful and a great help. In the freezing cold border, everyone's knees were sore from the cold, but he was the only one who was safe and sound. Both of them are now the lowest level soldiers. Even someone like Jiang Yu has to squeeze into a large bunk bed with a group of soldiers. In the north, and even though Jiang Yu was wearing the most ordinary soldier's armor, it couldn't hide his innate nobility. He stayed with Su Chun, eating around the campfire to keep warm. The two of them looked at the fine snow in the sky, which evaporated when it approached the fire. Su Chun stared at the fire in a daze, drinking hot water from time to time, and sighed. Xiangzhou should be getting warmer now, with flowers blooming in spring, unlike the border area, which is desolate everywhere. From his words that he missed home. During the more than half a year at the border, the two sides had been testing each other, and he had no chance to go directly to the front line while he was in the recruit camp. Why are you missing home? Jiang Yu asked with a smile. Of course I do. Which of you here doesn't miss home? I don't know how long this war will take to be over.
Su Chen sighed.
All the soldiers who were on the expedition missed home. It could take 3 to 5 years at most, or 1 to 2 years at least, depending on how our head coach arranges the troops. Jiang Yu was not polite at all when he evaluated his father. Indeed, if the soldiers are led well and fight well, they will naturally be able to return home early. Yes, it's useless for us to be brave. Our commander must also be able to lead the troops. Su Chen agreed with Jiang Yu's statement. He still doesn't know that their head coach is Jiang Yu's biological father. All I can say is that Jiang Yu is too down to earth. Even in a noisy soldier camp, he can live there calmly and peacefully, without any airs of a nobleman. Jiangyu, come with me. While the two were talking, the deputy general beside the commander came over and called out Jiangyu by name. It has happened several times, and now the soldiers under him are all doubting Jiangyu's identity. Duke Jiang led the army this time and brought a son with him, Jiangyu's half-brother Jiangyan. Jiangyan was also in the soldiers' camp, but he was not a low-key person and advertised his identity everywhere. Before the war officially started, everyone in the camp knew that he was the commander-in-chief's son, and they all tried to curry favor with him. Jiangyu's surname was also Jiang, and he was always summoned by the deputy general from time to time. It was hard for everyone not to suspect that he was also a nobleman who came in through the back door. In the eyes of everyone, these children of aristocratic families are all good-looking but useless, so when they look at Jiangyu, their eyes are not eyes and their noses are not noses. Even Su Chen, who is on good terms with Jiangyu, is isolated. Jiangyu and Su Chen looked at each other, then stood up and followed the deputy general to the commander's tent. At the end of April, Yang Qingqing and Yi Run's held their wedding. The Yi family had a small house with 2 entrances in Xiangzhou City. Ye's father had already hired someone to renovate the yard and use it as a wedding room for the couple. The dowry their family gave was not much, just 208 taels of silver, and some of the necessary items for a betrothal gift, a brand new set of mahogany furniture, and 3 pieces of gold jewelry, everything that was necessary. The main thing is that they spent a lot of money on decorating the new house, and they will also need money to hold the wedding banquet. My uncle and aunt didn't ask for too much. In their opinion, as long as their daughter lives a good life, it's enough. But after more than half a year, Yang Qingqing worked as the shopkeeper of Yuyan Hall and saved more than 100 taels of private money. Together with the jewelry that Su Wan had given her, the total value was quite a bit of silver. She took them all as her dowry, and her uncle also gave an extra 280 taels of dowry, almost emptying his own family fortune to give as a dowry to his daughter, which shows how much he values his daughter. When Yang Qingqing got married, Su Wan paid for her a set of gold headwear out of his own pocket, which was very decent. Her wedding dress was also made by Su's mother herself, with good material that her aunt had specially asked her to buy. Of course, the veil was sewn by her herself, in the pattern of mandarin ducks playing in the water. Yang Qingqing married an ordinary person, so her wedding dress was red. Unless she married into a wealthy merchant family or a high-ranking official, she could wear red or green wedding dresses. You get married, the more respectable you are, the better. The more dowry you bring, the more you can hold your head up high in your husband's family. Compared with the 2 families, Yang Qingqing's dowry was particularly large, so she was very proud in the eyes of her relatives from the Yi family. It was also on the wedding day that Su Wan met Ye's son-in-law for the first time. In terms of appearance, he is not extremely handsome, but he is also quite pretty. He is about 1.8 meters tall and is a handsome and elegant young man. He rode a tall horse, wearing a red wedding dress and a big red flower, and came to pick up Yang Qingqing. The 2 of them said goodbye to their uncle and aunt, and his aunt cried like a tearful person. Su Wan still had to walk a few steps out of the door. She was the cousin and had to go to the Yi family to accompany the bride. The Yi family is a native family of Xiangzhou City. After the renovation, this ancestral home is not shabby at all. Yang Qingqing's wedding room is fully equipped with new items. Cousin Qingqing looked so beautiful today. After the wedding ceremony, she sat nervously in the new room. Her bed was covered with peanuts, longans, and red dates, symbolizing the early birth of a baby. However, the complicated headpiece and jewelry that Su Wan put on her head caused her neck to hurt. She got up early in the morning and didn't eat anything, so she was starving by noon. Su Wan could only go out and find a few plates of snacks to fill her stomach. But she didn't expect that when she came back, she found her cousin's husband was also there. He made up an excuse to go to the toilet, then ran to the kitchen to cook a bowl of chicken noodle soup and brought it to Yang Qingqing. Because I was worried that she would be hungry if she didn't eat for the whole morning. As soon as Su Wan came in, he felt embarrassed and quickly left. My cousin's husband came out not long after staying in there. When he saw her at the door, He nodded to her politely. When Su-won saw Yang Qingqing eating noodles with such happiness on her face, she knew that she had married the right person. A man will always care about you and love you, and even if your family is not so prominent, life will be good. As cousin Qingqing's wedding was over, it was Su-won's coming-of-age ceremony. At the beginning of May, she turned 15. In ancient times, girls would reach the age of 15, which was considered a rite of passage, indicating that they could get married after reaching the age of 15. The Su family attached great importance to Su-won's coming-of-age ceremony. They planned to set up a few tables to have a good time and imitate others to hold a proper coming-of-age ceremony to bring face to Su-won. On Su-yun's side, Chunglu had already prepared everything. The waiters and the kitchen team had already been hired, and they were just waiting to choose a day to open. Su-yun didn't want to delay too long, so the opening day was in early May, just a few days after Su-won's birthday. After several rounds of food tasting, all the dishes on the menu were served normally and tasted excellent. Su-yun promoted it in advance and announced the opening of Chunglu everywhere in Xiangzhou City. The menu and prices were also posted. It was neither expensive nor cheap, and many of the dishes on it were things the people of Xiangzhou had never seen before. Su-won also contributed a recipe for double skim milk, which was sold as an after-meal dessert at Chunglu. Su-yun also researched several desserts and snacks, such as fermented glutinous rice dumplings, and fried buns. Moreover, the main purpose of this promotion is to let everyone know about the spicy taste. The news that has been released is that this is the only taste in Xiangzhou City, and it is not available in other stores or even in other cities. Once this gimmick is released, there will be no shortage of customers on the opening day. Moreover, there will be a 20% discount in the first 3 days of opening, and considering people's love of bargains, this can also attract a wave of customers. Also, if a new restaurant appears in a place, people will come to eat there with the attitude of trying the taste. On the day of Su-won's coming-of-age ceremony, Su's mother invited all the neighbors and the shop owners of the neighboring shops of Yuyentang to come to Furong Cottage to attend Su-won's coming-of-age ceremony. On this day, Su-won wore the dress and shoes and socks carefully made by her mother, put on yellow flowers in front of the mirror, and dressed up beautifully for the event. Before the banquet began, she had to bow before the incense table and then wait for Su's mother to put a hairpin on her, which was a very formal ceremony. They are an ordinary family and do not need to follow all those rules and etiquette, otherwise they would be exhausted. Su's mother made her a golden hibiscus hairpin, and Su-yun and Su-yi also prepared their own gift hairpins. Since it is a coming-of-age ceremony, a hairpin is naturally given as a gift. Yesterday, the coming-of-age gifts prepared by my eldest and second brothers were delivered to Furong Cottage. Although the two brothers are far away, they are still thinking about their sister's birthday, let alone such a big day as her coming of age. The hairpins prepared by Sun Linger and Grandma Yi were also delivered along with Su Mu's. The eldest brother prepared a peachwood hairpin that he carved himself. He said in the letter that Yu County was a desolate place and there were no rare items to be found. The only thing he could offer was the hairpin that he carved himself. The gift may be small, but the sentiment is great. Su-won could feel that her elder brother cared about her. She didn't care whether the gift was valuable or not. She only cared about how much sincerity was contained in the gift. The other brothers were different, but they were all carefully selected, and Su-won liked them all. With a rosy face also came, and even a representative from Bingjitang came. But the person who came was not Xiaonyang, as she had gone to work on the semicolon. The person who came was her second-in-command, but she had no impression of his name, and it was impossible for her to act familiar with him. My uncle's family all came, as well as Yang Qingqing and his wife, who had just been married a few days ago. Now has her hair tied up in a bun, and she looks more gentle and considerate like a wife. Her complexion is rosy, her eyes are full of spring, and you can tell at first glance that she is nourished by love. Su-won thought that once her fourth brother's Chunglu was stable, she would have to travel around to do business again. There are still several provinces that need her to open branches of Yuyintang, and even Kyoto set a goal last year to set up a workshop. At that time, They will pass by Shuanhe River, and Suwon plans to go and see his elder brother. Today is her coming-of-age day. The sun is shining brightly, and after Suwon has completed the ceremony, she has no intention of joking with others. Yang Qingqing saw that she was worried, so she came over to accompany her. Wanwan, you look unhappy today. Today is your coming-of-age day. You're already a grown-up girl. So, why are you not happy? Could it be that you are missing Mr. Jiang? Suwon's heart skipped a beat when his feelings were touched, and he seemed very uncomfortable. She coughed twice in embarrassment and agreed, without refuting. Yang Qingqing couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. A girl's feelings are always poetic. If she meets her ideal person, she will become more sentimental. Jiang Yu and his third brother Su Chen were both at the border. Even if they knew her birthday, they couldn't do anything about it. Sisters could say a few words. Lu Yun came over to find her. Miss, Master Jiang has sent someone over. Please go to the backyard. It's really true what you think about. Just when I was thinking about that guy, he sent someone over. Su Wan and Yang Qingqing looked at each other, and Yang Qingqing nodded at her, motioning her to go first. Su Wan followed Lu Yun to the hibiscus tree in the backyard, where Jiang Yu's guards were waiting. The guard looked familiar. When Su Wan approached, he turned around and found that the person was actually a hung. In his hands he held a small mahogany box with exquisite carvings. Turning around, I saw Su Wan coming, smiling brightly. Greetings, 6th Mississippi. I am here today on the orders of the young master to present you with a coming-of-age gift. Please take a look. He handed the wooden box to Su Wan respectfully. Su Wan took the box with both hands. Thank you for your hard work. You must be exhausted after coming all the way from Zhongzhou, right? A hung once said that he was stationed at Fengyue Villa all year round, and he would not go down the mountain unless the young master ordered him to. So this time he came directly from Fengyue Villa. It's not hard. Thank you for your concern, Mississippi. I was delayed for a while on the way. Otherwise I should have arrived long ago. If I missed the girls' coming-of-age ceremony and sent the gifts, the young master would punish me. This time I came here, I also brought the coming-of-age gifts prepared by the old master for you. But the quantity is too large. Miss Luiying has arranged for someone to deliver them to the warehouse. Everyone is thinking about Su Wan's birthday. To be honest, in her life, except in modern times, no one cared when she celebrated her birthday. Her birthday has always been insignificant and ignored, and sometimes even she herself forgets it. Now that she was being held in the palm of everyone's hand, she still felt a little unreal in her heart. She always felt that these feelings were fleeting, and in the end it was just a dream, so she often twisted her arms to see if she was dreaming. Give my regards to the old master when you go back. Thank him for caring about me. Girl, please take a look at the gift that the young master prepared for you. He said that the mission will not be completed until I personally watch you put it on. Ahung stared at the box in Su Wan's hand and said expectantly. Su Wan found it funny, but did as he was told and opened the gift Jiang Yu had prepared in front of him. As expected, it was also a hairpin, but the things Jiang Yu gave as gifts were never ordinary items, especially the things given to her, which must be very precious. Sure enough, there was a hairpin lying quietly in the box. However, it was a hairpin made with royal kingfisher feather craftsmanship. Judging from its style, it was a step-shaking hairpin, and the design on it looked a bit like a phoenix's tail. Is this a kingfisher hairpin? Su Wan looked at Ah Hung in confusion. Ah Hung nodded and explained, this is made by the master of imperial jadeite in the palace. It is very expensive. It is called Phoenix Seeking Phoenix. There are only 5 of them in the world. One is with the Queen Mother, one is with the Queen, one is with the concubine Shu, and the other is with the Princess of Xiang. This is the 5th Phoenix Seeking Phoenix. It originally belonged to the young master's mother, the wife of the Duke of Jiang. After that, her husband passed away, and the phoenix was kept by the young master and will be given to the future wife of the young master. Today is your coming-of-age day. The young master had instructed me when we were at Fengyue Villa. He knew he couldn't attend in person, so he asked me to deliver this gift today to express his love for you. Su Wan gave him a token of love, and he also gave him a token of love in return today. Hearing what Ah Hung said, this Fengqiuwang is indeed very precious. There are only 5 in the world, and she actually got one. Suwon immediately took out the hairpin and put it directly on her head. Ah Hung smiled with satisfaction when he saw it. Since the mission has been completed, I won't stay any longer, so I'll leave now. After completing the task, Ah Hung was about to leave and immediately returned to Fengyue Villa. Suwon also knew that it was inconvenient to keep him, so he personally sent him out of Farong Cottage before going back. Her head immediately attracted everyone's attention, and everyone looked at it curiously. Some people have never seen kingfisher feathers, or even heard of them, but after seeing them, they just think they are beautiful. So everyone came to ask her about the origin of this hairpin. Suwon just smiled and said a few perfunctory words, not intending to reveal the origin of this hairpin. When Yang Qingqing saw Suwon again, in addition to noticing that she had a dazzling hairpin on her head, she also noticed that her originally gloomy face was now replaced by a smile. It is indeed the word love that makes people unable to stop. She laughed at her mercilessly. Suwon let her laugh at herself. When she was dating her cousin's husband, she was even more embarrassed than herself. Abroad, a battle had just ended, and the soldiers were cleaning up the battlefield. After months of stalemate, the two armies finally came face to face. They fought for several days in a row, and there were countless casualties and wailing everywhere. The external soldiers were all tall and strong, and they were strong in both numbers. Even if they were slightly outnumbered, they could still fight the Jin army on equal terms, and the number of casualties on their side was even greater. However, after a few battles, the other side only launched tentative attacks to test their strength, and then stop when they saw an advantage. Jiang Yu and Su Chun were quickly promoted to centurions because they killed many enemies. There was blood on their armor, and it was unclear whether it was from the enemy or their own people. But it is ridiculous that the second son of Duke Jiang actually deserted the battlefield and was now punished to be sent to the cook camp to be a fireman. Those soldiers who used to curry favor with him have all become fence-sitters. Seeing that he is in such a state of desolation, no one cares about him anymore. At this time, news came from the court that the 5th prince and the 7th prince had volunteered to go to the battlefield, and the emperor had already agreed. Soon the 2 princes would arrive at the border and put on armor to go into battle. However, they are princes after all and do not need to abide by the Jiang family's military regulations. First of all, they are captains and generals, appointed by the emperor himself. He is a real member of the royal family. Even if he arrives at the military camp, it is impossible for him to eat and live with the soldiers. To put it bluntly, it is almost like he is here to experience life. Jiang Yu and Su Chen didn't think anything of it. Their coming wouldn't affect them. As for the 5th Prince Morong Sheng, he had martial art skills and should be able to make some achievements if he came. But what did it mean that the 7th Prince Morong Huai also came? Morong Huai is the youngest son of the Majesty. Although his mother, concubine Chen, is not among the 4 concubines, she is now the most favored concubine by the Majesty. As a result, the Majesty is more lenient towards the 7th Prince. Morong Huai is only 17 years old now. He has always been known as a playboy in Kyoto. He is the kind of guy who can't do anything and spends all day looking for pleasure. He actually volunteered to go to the battlefield to lead troops to fight? Isn't this ridiculous? He's lucky to be able to lift the sword. However, they have no say in the decisions from above, and all they need to do is do their own job well. Opening day of Qinglu was extremely lively. After the ribbon-cutting ceremony, firecrackers were set off as if they were free. The Su family came together, and the guests flocked in. Qinglu has 2 floors and was converted from a tea house. The first floor is the lobby, and the second floor is decorated as a quiet booth separated by a window. Most of the seats on the second floor are by the window. The environment is quiet, with green plants and flowers everywhere, and gurgling water among the rockery. The first floor is a little noisy because the tables are not far apart, so if you speak louder, the neighbors can hear it. After a while, the first floor was filled with people, sitting in groups of 2 or 3, and guests also came into the second floor one after another. There are 5 waiters in total, who are responsible for taking orders and serving food, but now it seems that they are not enough. Everyone ordered the signature dishes. Braised pork and spicy chicken were must-orders. Almost every table ordered them. The other dishes were also very good. Most of the guests also ordered desserts after the meal. Double-skim milk and fermented glutinous rice dumplings were the most popular. Most of them were ordered by tables with female guests. The kitchen was bustling with activity. The pots on every stove were catching fire and the spoons were smoking. Inside the steamer is a freshly steamed round of fish with fermented black beans. Soo-yeon personally helped in the kitchen. He dressed up carefully early in the morning, wearing new clothes, a neat bun, and an exquisite hair crown, just to make himself look more stylish as the boss. As a result, he still underestimated the popularity of his Chunglu, and he was short of manpower. Outside, Soo-won was guarding the counter to give feedback. Every time a table came to pay, she would ask everyone about their dining experience. Really, it was the first time for the entire Xiangzhou people to eat such novel dishes and flavors, which were called spicy. Moreover, the dishes were different from what he usually ate. The color was no longer dull white, but brown of varying shades. But even so, people will not feel uncomfortable, but will feel very appetite. Smell in the air whets your appetite. To be honest, there are still many people who like spicy food. The few who can't eat spicy food will also be impressed by light dishes with soy sauce. On the first day of opening, there were almost no negative reviews. All the prepared dishes delivered by the supplier early in the morning were sold out, and an additional batch was delivered in the afternoon. I didn't expect the business to be so good. The stove in the kitchen never stopped burning all day long. Not only that, according to Soo-won's suggestion, Chunglu also has a delivery business, which can deliver food to your door. Even if there is no seat in the store, you don't have to wait. The food can be prepared and sent to your home. This business model is unique in Xiangzhou. Less than half a month after it was launched, other restaurants all felt threatened. All the business was taken over by Chunglu and no customers came to the restaurants. On the other hand, Chunglu has been packed with people these days, and its takeout business is also very popular. Soo-yeon's Chunglu is open until midnight, all thanks to the fact that there is no curfew in Xiangzhou. Even if people are hungry in the middle of the night, they can still have a delicious meal. Some people, even if they live near the city gate, would walk for half an hour just to have a taste of Chunglu's food. Colleagues were worried and asked people to buy Chunglu's food to study it. The chili and the unique sauce were impossible to replicate. They had no idea what ingredients were used. Moreover, Soo-yeon was the only one who was in charge of the cultivation of peppers, the making of pepper powder and pepper sauce, as well as the pickling methods of chopped pepper sauce. He was the only one who knew the recipe of the sauce, and Soo-won didn't know it. If those colleagues wanted to find out the recipe, they would have no idea where to start from among Chunglu's staff unless they looked for Soo-yeon. But Soo-yeon was not a fool. In other words, it would be extremely difficult for them to replicate the taste of Chunglu. The only one that was not affected was probably the moon is full in the West Tower, but it was still affected to some extent. Yueman Shilo is a hotel, and serving food is just a sideline business. Nowadays, food has been monopolized by Chunglu. Many customers staying at Yueman Shilo will rush to Chunglu for their 3 meals. If there is no room, they will order delivery to Yueman Shilo. Thus, the kitchen in the Moonlight West building became quiet overnight, and the cooks gathered together to chat with nothing to do. Shopkeeper Luo has already started thinking about whether to lay off a few employees or something. It is true that teaching the apprentice will starve the master to death. However, Yumingsela's accommodation business is still very stable. They are originally doing business with wealthy people, so there will be no shortage of wealthy people who want to stay at their house. Soo-yeon made a lot of money in half a month. He looked at the flow of money in the account book and showed a very worthless smile. Soo-yeon, finally stood up. Come on, Soo-yi, look carefully. I can earn so much money in just half a month. Weren't you showing off before? Are you still showing off now? Soo-yeon was very vindictive. When he bought a birthday present for Soo-won, he was short of money due to his business, so he had to borrow money from Soo-yi to buy the hairpin. Now, he also makes money and no longer has to be laughed at by him. Su-yi was speechless. He glanced at Su-yun indifferently and reached out to put his account book aside. First, pay off the 1,500 taels owed to Yuntang. Su-yun opened Chenglu and borrowed 1,500 taels from Yuntang's account. Now Su-yi said it out without giving him any face. It's really annoying. Su-yun was choked up and hid the account book behind him. Why rush? I can pay it all back next month, and I'll have some left over. Seeing him pretending to be calm, Su-won laughed unkindly. It's okay, fourth brother. Don't be in a hurry to pay it back. First stabilize Chunglo's business. There must be money in the account. Wanwon is still considerate, unlike you who makes me angry every day. Su-yun smiled at Su-won, and when he turned to look at Su-yi, he glared at him fiercely. Su-yi said it didn't matter. He didn't care, but he just didn't say anything, which made Su-yun very angry again. Chenglu is now very popular and has become a restaurant that is talked about a lot in Xiangzhou City. The net profit in just half a month is as much as 1,000 taels of silver. If it moves to Kyoto in the future, I am afraid the net profit will be even more. Of course, Su-won has not been idle during this period. She had said before that she wanted to set up a security team. Now she has selected a yard as the residence of the security team and posted a recruitment notice. Her uncle is responsible for the interviews. We're all grown men, and it was inappropriate for a girl like her to go for the interview. The employment requirements are as follows. Male, between the ages of 20 and 35, must be skilled in martial arts, be in good health, and have all the necessary limbs. The escort team's future mission is to escort Yu Yanhul's goods to and from various states. Because it is a long journey, the commission is relatively high. Food and accommodation are provided, and the commission for each person is 6 taels of silver per month. The contract is signed for a minimum of 5 years. We are recruiting 100 people, and the quota is on a first-come, first-served basis until all are filled. Hiring 100 people would only earn a commission of 600 taels of silver a month. To ensure the safety of the goods, this amount of money is nothing. Moreover, Su-won's move was mainly to cultivate his own network of contacts, so that if there was any chaos, he could dispatch them to protect his family. Because of the war on the front line, the price of rice has increased. Su-won has bought back a large amount of grain at a high price. With so many people to feed at home and so many workers to support, it is not a small amount of money. Fortunately, her business has high profits and low costs. Even if things don't work out, there is still the income from Bingjitang. The monthly revenue of several thousand taels of silver is enough for her family to live a comfortable life. In the second half of the year, I took some time to visit my eldest brother and bring him some rice. The war on the front line was tense, and many refugees from the border fled south to avoid the war. Prices were rising everywhere, especially food. Not to mention prosperous places like Xiangzhou and Zhongzhou, the lives of ordinary people in the Xuanhe River Basin are probably even more difficult. At that time, she will go there and open a porridge stall to provide porridge to the refugees and regard it as doing good deeds to accumulate fame and virtue. Spring is the flood season. When the floods occurred, there were complaints everywhere and many refugees' homes were washed away. Fortunately, there was Su Jing, who gritted his teeth and supervised the construction and repair of the embankments even at the end of the year. Compared with the previous years, the situation was much better. When the flood occurred, and it was the season of late spring cold, many people contracted cough. The medicinal herbs that Su Jing brought with him were very effective and saved many lives. The common people of Xuanhe saw some hope through him and thought that finally a good official who could get things done had arrived. By the end of June, Su-yun's Chenglu had stabilized and business was good every day. Su-yun was so busy that he wished he could live in Chenglu. Su-yi is relatively free. He can open a shop whenever he wants. Those who engage in art are all weird people. Su-won even took time out to accompany him to visit Master Qian. Xionyang has also returned from other places and opened 3 Bingjitang stores one after another. After taking a 2-month break, she continued to open branches in other states. It's time for Su-won to set off on a certain day to go to several prefectures in the Jiangnan region to deal with the affairs of the Yuantang branch and to visit his elder brother in Yu County as well. At Su-yi's strong request, he will accompany her throughout this journey. But Su-yun was so envious. Now he was tripped by Chung-lu and couldn't get away, otherwise he would have to go with him no matter how high. In the Jiangnan region, there are 3 more states to visit: Jeju, Banju, and Minju. First go to Fengzhou, which is the closest to Xiangzhou. Even though it is the closest, it takes half a month to get there. Then it is Jeju and Minzhou. Jeju and Minju are located in the Shuanhe River basin, especially Minju, which has been hit by floods over the years and is the most economically backward and poorest. Jeju has also been affected to some extent because it is close. Refugees often stagnate in and around the city. The economic development is not very good, and even the public security is not very good. By then, the price of goat milk soap in these 2 regions will have to be adjusted down relatively. The demand for body and hair soap and floral goat milk soap is estimated to be relatively low, and the basic and dyed types should sell the best. In recent years, she doesn't expect these 2 regions to make much money for her, but after the flood in Shuanhe River is controlled, the economy of these 2 regions will gradually recover and slowly get better. Yu County, where my eldest brother is located, is in Minzhou. The flood season has just passed, and the situation there is hard to describe. Su-won brought 8 guards with her this time, all of whom were left by Jiangyu. This journey was not as prosperous and peaceful as Yenzhou and Suzhou. She might encounter many refugees, and so on. In case of chaos at that time, it was necessary to bring a few more people with her. Also, the means of transportation should not be too eye-catching and should be as low-key as possible. There is no need to use the luxurious carriage that Jiangyu gave her, so she bought a slightly smaller one for herself and put a blanket inside, which was enough for her, Luyan Luiying, and her 5th brother to sit on. Moreover, Luyan spent most of the time outside the carriage, driving the carriage together. Also another carriage used to carry supplies and luggage. When resting on the way, pots, pans, firewood, rice, oil, salt, and other things were placed in it. The 8 guards all rode horses, so no one would rush. They just walked normally and stopped to feed the horses when they came across a post station. This time, with the 5th brother accompanying her, the journey would not seem too boring. He always took care of Su-won in every detail and never let her do anything by herself, treating her like a child who could not take care of herself. After staying in Fengzhou for a month, as soon as the shop issue was settled, we went to Jeju, without stopping. On the official road near Jeju, many refugees were heading towards Jeju City in groups. They were thin, their clothes were tattered and covered in mud, and their hair was messy. Many children aged 5 or 6 kept crying to the adults about how hungry they were and how they wanted to eat, but after fleeing all the way, they had already run out of food and ammunition. After a lot of effort, I saw a group of people and 2 carriages coming on the official road. The guards were riding tall horses, with swords hanging at their sides, and each of them had a serious expression. The refugees knew that this was a group of wealthy people, and there might be a lot of food in their carriage, and there might be a kind-hearted man or a lady sitting inside. Some people wanted to take a gamble, so they all knelt down in the middle of the road and begged for food from the master in the carriage. "Good man, please give me something to eat." The sounds of begging came one after another. Sui opened the window of the carriage and looked forward, and found that dozens of refugees were kneeling on the road, kowtowing and begging. The convoy had to stop, and the guards outside asked Su-won what to do next. Su-won looked out through the tiny gap in the car door. Seeing the situation, she knew very well that the food they had now was not enough to be distributed, not to mention that there were hundreds of refugees behind them. If there was not enough food to be distributed after taking it out, and everyone scrambled for food and caused chaos, they would probably be trapped here. Being kind also requires a limit and a method. Being soft-hearted for a moment will only cause yourself unnecessary trouble. But these refugees were blocking the road, and if they were not given food, they would probably not give way. They couldn't kill them for that. So Su-won pondered for a moment and came up with an idea. She whispered a few words to the guards outside the window. Upon hearing this, the guards nodded repeatedly. Then he shouted to the refugees, Our master said that we don't have any food on the car to share with you, but please make way for us and let us into Jeju City. Our master is kind and generous and will donate food at the gate of Jeju City and open a porridge stall for 3 days to help the refugees. We will keep our promise. The guards did not reveal Soo-won's female identity. When the refugees heard this, they looked at each other and whispered to each other, trying to figure out whether what this man said was true or not. But if you think about it carefully and weigh the pros and cons, you can figure it out. Even if they were cheated, at most they would not get any food. But if it was true, then the porridge stall would have been open for 3 days in a row, and if they arrived as soon as possible, they could live a few more days. This year than in previous years. This is because the newly appointed Du Shuai-ling proposed a work-for-a-leaf method, which provided the common people with jobs and food to eat and avoided starvation. After the flood season this year, many common people chose to stay and work together to rebuild. With the military and civilians working together, the speed of reconstruction has also been accelerated. Only a very small number of people still have stubborn ideas and are thinking of escaping to other places. Gradually, the refugees in the middle of the road moved to the sides to let the convoy pass. It takes no more than half a day to walk from here to Jeju City, but Soo-won and the others arrived in just 1 hour. She did what she said. After entering the city, she immediately asked Lu-yun to buy food and started preparing to open a porridge stall at the city gate. This kind of porridge distribution is very common. You don't need government approval. You just need to bring your own supplies. There are ready-made porridge stalls outside Jeju City because the government distributes porridge every day. If there are kind people who want to continue providing relief, they can just bring people and deliver food over. Now, and the granaries in each state have to send grain to the border every month. The Xian River Basin is also suffering from floods. The court has already transported relief grain and relief silver several times, but there are still so many refugees displaced. All I can say is that after all the layers of screening, there are always a few brave rats who make money from it but make the people suffer. The granaries in Jeju are almost empty, but vendors are driving up the price of brown rice to sky-high levels. However, since Soo-won has already agreed to open a porridge stall, he will do what he says. Porridge is distributed every day at the gate of Jeju City. This is the order of the governor. At least 1 meal of porridge is provided every day, even if it is just watery. We cannot let the refugees starve to death or die of thirst. Soo-won just needs to send the food she buys directly to the porridge kitchen, and she doesn't have to worry about anything else. It is impossible to allow these refugees to enter the city. They can only stay temporarily in the refugee camps outside the city. When Chwonha is almost rebuilt, they will naturally go back. Soo-won had someone buy 2,000 kilograms of brown rice at one time and had it delivered directly to the city gate. It was enough for 2 meals a day, which was enough for more than 3 days. Nowadays, a pound of brown rice sells for 10 cents here, while in Xiangzhou it is only 4 cents. The price here has more than doubled. 2,000 kilograms of rice also cost 200 taels of silver in Seoin. In Xiangzhou, 200 taels could buy 2,500 kilograms of polished rice. 2,000 kilograms of brown rice to the city gate. When the refugees saw so much food, they kowtowed on the ground to thank the kind-hearted man for his gift and charity. There must be something hateful about pitiful people. If they didn't think of fleeing but stayed to participate in the joint construction, why would they have to wander around like this? What future can you achieve if you only want to reap the fruits of your labor without being willing to make any contribution? But then again, although the prices of goods in Jeju are expensive, the housing prices are extremely low. Soo-won found the best inn to stay in, but discovered that the best inn in Jeju City was only at the level of a medium-sized inn in Xiangzhou. Because of the Xian River, Jeju is rated as a lower province, and the economic level here might not be as good as that of any county in Zhongzhou. She bought a shop in the best location in the pawn shop and spent less than 1,000 taels in total. Including the decoration and the money for hiring workers, it was also very cheap. The prices in this city have skyrocketed. Even ordinary people in the city have a very ordinary life. The poorer ones can hardly afford even brown rice. Jeju is already in such a situation. If it were Minzhou, Soo-won couldn't even imagine what it would be like. Thinking about Yu County, where his eldest brother is, Suwon feels very distressed. That is the place worst hit by the disaster. He really doesn't know what kind of life his eldest brother is living over there. His life might even be in danger. It was still the same formula as before. During the renovation, a female manager was hired, and the interview was conducted directly at the inn. Then Luyan and others were asked to do background checks. Jeju is a rather chaotic place, so Suwon stays in the inn most of the time, and Soo-yi is the one who handles any matters. But Suwon felt bored staying in the inn every day, so he thought about going out for a walk, or at most taking a few more people with him. They all dressed relatively low-key, wearing simple clothes without showing off their wealth. Even the material of their clothes was relatively ordinary. If they wanted to be low-key, they had to stick to it to the end. The 5,000 kilograms of brown rice and 3,000 kilograms of japonica rice sent to the eldest brother have already arrived. Based on Suwon's understanding of him, he probably won't leave much food for himself and will donate it all to the people. I stayed in the inn for several days in a row. Except for going out a few times on the first day to check the shop, I hardly went out after that. Even the decoration of the shop was supervised by my fifth brother. I heard that there are a lot of thieves and pickpockets in Jeju at night, and the security is very bad, so at Soo-yi's strong request, he was reluctant to let Suwon go out. It was not possible for a person to stay at home every day. Only after Suwon's strong request did Soo-yi agree to let her go out for a walk in the morning. Luyan and Luing both know martial arts, and their fighting strength is not low, so they just need to bring 2 guards with them. After entering the city, the guards no longer carried swords with them. I still remember the first day we entered the city. The runners at the city gate saw that the guards were carrying swords and refused to let us in. All the swords were taken away, and they were told to pick them up when we left the city. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When you arrive in a place, you must abide by the local rules. Jiangyu left behind were all very skilled, ruthless, and taciturn. Even with bare hands, they could fight off several people at once. There was no need for them to take action against the ruffians. Luing alone was enough. He went out in the morning. Suwon only brought 2 guards with him. The rest of the guards were disguised as ordinary people and scattered on the street of about 100 meters to provide secret protection, adhering to the principle of keeping a low profile. Otherwise, if a large group of people went out together, it would be too eye-catching. Suwon wore a veil and walked side by side with Soo-yi on the street. They passed by a bun shop. The steamers were filled with steam and the aroma was fragrant. Seems to be doing very good business. The small tables are full of people, and there are many people waiting in front of the bun stall. The boss almost can't handle them all. Suwon pulled Soo-yi's sleeve, thinking that the buns in the shop must be so delicious that their business was so good, so she asked her fifth brother to buy a few to try. Fifth brother, let us buy a few to try. Soo-yi nodded and met his sister's small request. So, Soo-yi went to queue up to buy buns, and Suwon and his group stood by the roadside waiting. When Soo-yi came back with the steaming buns wrapped in oil paper, he had just taken one out and handed it to her. Before Suwon could even take it, a little beggar suddenly ran out and knocked the bun out of Soo-yi's hand. The buns rolled all over the ground and none of them could be eaten. The little beggar hurriedly said a few words of apology, picked up a few dirty buns on the ground, and ran away desperately. However, he fell to the ground after only a few steps. Suwon and Soo-yi looked at each other without saying anything. She actually wanted to say that the buns were dirty and she didn't want them anymore. She didn't intend to blame him, but he fell down right after that. Stop right there, you little jerk. I'm going to beat you to death. Suddenly, 2 men dressed as servants appeared. They walked up to the little beggar, surrounded him, and started kicking and beating him. The little beggar held the dirty buns tightly in his arms, curled up with his head covered with one hand, and let them kick and beat him. Everyone around was watching the scene coldly, whispering, and watching the excitement. No one was going to help. Suwon couldn't stand it anymore, so he signaled 2 guards to stop them. No matter what the reason was, this little beggar looked young and thin, so how could he just watch him get beaten to death? The more chaotic the place is, the more insignificant human lives are. After receiving the order, the guard stepped forward and restrained the 2 servants, binding their hands behind their backs. The two servants grimaced in pain and cursed. "Who the heck is meddling in other people's business? Are you trying to kill yourself?" The little beggar had been beaten so badly that he kept curling up on the ground, unable to get up, with his face facing the ground. It seemed that his assassin must be in great pain. "No matter what, you can't hit people like this, let alone a child." Su-yi spoke first, while Su-won remained silent and stood behind Lu-yun and Lu-ying. "It's none of your business. This kid offended my master, so he deserves to be beaten. Master, the master is coming. Please save us, master." At this time, another servant looked in the direction he had just come from, shouting and struggling excitedly, but he could not break free from the guard's restraints, so he could only shout for help. Following his gaze, I saw a man in a liver-colored long gown and brocade clothes, hugging two pretty women on his left and right, and followed by 4 servants. He was kissing one and then the other, and was walking towards the side. Hearing his servants cry for help, he looked over, only to see that his man was restrained and unable to move. He then put away his cynical look, pushed the 2 women away, opened his folding fan, and walked over while fanning himself, gazing at Su-yi and the 2 guards with sarcasm. "You useless jerks. I asked you to take care of a little beggar, and you let him bully you like this?" The guards released the 2 servants at the right time, and they ran back to their master happily. "Master, they are meddling in other people's business and bullying the minority with their numbers." The lackeys complained, and when they saw their master coming, they became more confident when they shouted, "What? You want to meddle in other people's business, eh?" The man who was called the master looked at Su-yi with contempt. Su-yi just stood there with a calm expression. "I just can't stand seeing 2 grown men bullying a child. I wonder what this little beggar did to offend you? Why did you treat him so cruelly?" Su-yi thought, since he was in charge, he might as well take care of it to the end. "He bumped into me, I was upset, so I asked someone to teach him a lesson. What's wrong with that?" The man raised his eyebrows, his tone very arrogant. "He looks to be in his 20s with an average appearance, but he is quite tall and dressed decently, but he is actually a beast in human clothing. The fight has been over and you've calmed down, so let's just forget about it." He didn't want to make things too ugly, so his tone was relatively calm. "Who said I'm no longer angry? Boy, you're from another place, right? Have you ever heard of Mr. Zhao San's name? Anyone who offends me, Zhao San, will have a hard time. I see that you are delicate and tender, so it is better for you to stay quiet in other people's territory and mind your own business. I have never heard of Mr. Zhao San and Mr. Li Si, and I am not interested in knowing. But this little beggar has been beaten up by your people. It would be embarrassing if someone died. It is better to make a big deal out of a small matter. If he offended you, just ask him to apologize to you. Why kill someone? Don't you agree, Mr. Zhao San?" Su-yi finished speaking calmly, but his momentum was not inferior at all. Mr. Zhao was amused by him. He caught a glimpse of a woman in a plain white dress and a veil behind Su-yi. Just seeing her pair of beautiful eyebrows and eyes was enough to make people feel excited. Who knows how beautiful she is under the veil? Mr. Zhao San's eyes turned and a plan came to his mind. "Sir, if I don't let this little beggar go, then I am not broad-minded enough. I won't bother with him, but I want to get to know the girl with the veil behind you. Ask her to take off her veil and make friends with me, and I will pretend that this incident never happened." Su-won stood quietly in the back, not saying anything and not doing anything, but was still noticed. When Su-yi heard his words, his expression suddenly darkened. Mr. Zhao's naked eyes made him want to strip Su-won of her clothes. He said in a gloomy voice, "My sister is ugly, so she covers her face with a veil. If I take off the veil, I'm afraid it will scare Mr. Zhao San. Let's not do it. It doesn't matter. I just like making friends. I don't care about appearance." Mr. Zhao San was speaking against his conscience. He didn't believe in ugly appearance. He had a hunch that the woman must be stunningly beautiful. Since they were brother and sister, the brother was also fair-skinned and handsome, so the sister must not be much worse. Su-won lowered her eyes. She didn't want to be too ostentatious, but she always met some frivolous and dissolute people. Sui also didn't want Suwon to get into trouble, so he simply turned around and took Suwon's arm and prepared to leave. If he couldn't take care of this trivial matter, then he'd just let it go. Was he going to put Won in danger because of this? Hey, sir, isn't it a bit impolite to leave in the middle of a conversation? When Master Zhao-san saw that they were about to leave, he waved his hand and asked all the servants to stop them. He had a total of 6 servants, the same number as Suwon's side. Moreover, in his opinion, 3 women posed no threat. Sui held Suwon's wrist and turned to look at him. Mr. Zhao, do you want to fight head-on? Mr. Zhao-san tapped his palms rhythmically with his folding fan and walked towards Suwon step by step. Lu Yun and Lu Ying's eyes darkened and emitted dangerous light. I just want to see the girl's beauty. What's wrong with that? As Mr. Zhao-san spoke, he reached out to Suwon, wanting to lift her veil. Suwon just stood there, looking at him quietly with a calm look in her eyes. Before the hand touched Suwon, Lu Yun grabbed it and broke its bone with one force. Mr. Zhao-san's expression twisted instantly. He groaned, and his face turned red. He immediately attacked Lu Yun with the fan in hand. The tip of the fan brought with it a strong wind, and Lu Yun leaned back and dodged it easily. No one had expected that this Mr. Zhao-san also knew martial arts. Lu Ying protected Suwon and took a few steps back, standing in front of her. The 2 sides had already started fighting, but how could those servants be opponents? The 2 guards dealt with them in a few moves, knocking them to the ground one by one, punching them so hard that they couldn't get up. The whole process took only about 10 seconds. Mr. Zhao-san was no match for Lu Yun and was knocked to the ground by her palm, vomiting blood. The remaining guards in disguise who were hiding in the crowd saw the fight breaking out and quickly surrounded Suwon and Sui to protect them. Mr. Zhao-san got up from the ground and wiped a mouthful of blood. He looked at Suwon and Sui, wondering who these 2 people were. When he went out, he brought so many thugs with high martial arts skills, and they hid so well. The moves made by the 2 guards just now were so fast that he couldn't even see clearly, and all his men fell to the ground. And this woman, the maids around her are so powerful that even I am no match for her, and I can subdue her in just a few moves. What kind of person would have such powerful martial arts for the maids around him? This time, could it be that I have hit a wall? Mr. Zhao-san knew that he had offended a ruthless character, but he was also a man who could bend and stretch, so he immediately left his servants and women behind and ran away quickly. He brought with him had already hidden somewhere unknown, and the servants saw this and got up from the ground and ran away for their lives. These people can just be taught a lesson, there is no need to chase them. Suwon's mood for going out and relaxing today has also been affected. The little beggar had already fainted from the pain, but he was still holding those dirty buns in his arms and refused to let go. What should we do? Sui glanced at the little beggar and looked at Suwon helplessly. Suwon shrugged and said, "What else can we do? Take him back and find a doctor. Anyway, we have already taken care of this trivial matter. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda." Sui knew that his sister was not a cold-hearted person. Good-hearted, but not saintly. Finally, the little beggar was taken back to the inn and seen by a doctor. I was kicked hard in the abdomen and fainted from the pain. There are also bruises. I need to rest and recuperate for a few days. 2 hours later, the little beggar woke up. When he woke up, he found that his dirty and torn clothes had been changed into clean clothes, his hair was clean, and he was lying on a soft bed in a big room that he had never dared to imagine in his life. However, the first thing he did when he got up was to get out of bed and run outside. A guard was assigned to watch over him. As soon as he pushed the door open, he saw the little beggar fall in under the bed, crawling towards the door with a determined and painful look on his face. "What are you doing? Are you trying to kill yourself?" This guard happened to have been a beggar when he was a child, so he could especially empathize with others. He hurried over, picked up the little beggar, and put him back on the bed. "Brother, please let me go. I really have something important to tell you." The little beggar was thrown on the bed. He struggled to get up and kowtowed to the guard Anan. Anan hurried to help him. "You misunderstood. We are not bad people. My daughter saved you." You are seriously injured now. Don't move. The little beggar's face was covered with tear marks, and he was skin and bones, looking very pitiful. After hearing Ainan's explanation, he recalled everything that had happened before. It seemed that he bumped into a brother while running away, and his bun was knocked off his body. Afterwards, he was caught up by Mr. Zhao San's lackeys and beaten up so badly that he fainted. When he woke up again, he was here. In other words, it was the young man and girl he bumped into who saved him. Thank you for saving me, but my sister needs me now. She hasn't eaten for several days and has caught a cold. I have to go back to her now. The little beggar continued to kowtow to Ainan, crying as he kowtowed, with an anxious look on his face. Don't be like this, and don't worry. I'll ask my daughter for you. She will find a way to save your sister. Just wait. Ainan knew the situation was urgent, but he still had to ask the girl for instructions. After hearing what Ainan said, Suwon immediately decided to let him take 2 people to look for the child. After all, it is a life. So, Ainan asked the little beggar to tell him the address, but the little beggar insisted on going with them. Unable to resist his begging, Ainan took him with him. Finally, his sister was found in an abandoned ancestral hall in the city. She looked to be 7 or 8 years old, extremely thin, and had fainted due to not eating for a long time. Ainan brought the person back to the inn, asked a doctor to come and see him, and fed him some medicine and half a bowl of porridge, barely saving his life. The little beggar was extremely anxious and stayed by the girl's side all the time. Su-won and Su-yi also took the time to come over and take a look. The 2 siblings, one 10 years old and the other 8 years old, looked really pitiful. It is said that their parents went missing due to a flood, probably in an accident. The brother and sister followed the refugees to Jeju to seek refuge, and somehow they got into the city by mistake. They have been living in the city for 2 months, leading a life of begging. However, children's physical constitution is not as good as that of adults, especially little girls. It would be strange if they don't get sick if they live a life of hunger and cold, eat leftovers, dirty food and sewage every day. The little girl was very weak. Suwon thought that since he had to stay in Jeju City for some time anyway, he might as well be a good person and see the brother and sister off to good health, and then send them to Fonghua Villa as Ainan said. Fonghua Mountain Villa has a tradition of adopting orphans. As long as they meet one, there is an opportunity and the child is willing, they can go to the mountain to learn skills. After learning more about the situation, we found out that the little beggar's name was Daeniu, and the little girl's name was Aria. They were names that would be given in rural areas, and seemed to be easy to raise. When Suwon came in, Daeniu was very considerate, and knelt down in front of her. With a plop, the sound of the corrugated cover engraving on the wooden floor was so loud that it hurt just to hear it. Thank you, miss, for saving my brother and me. From now on, I will be your servant and work like a servant for you, without any complaints. The child is very smart and knows just what to say to please others. But Suwon didn't need a child to be his servant, let alone work like a servant. You don't have to be my servant. I have found a good place for you. You can trust my words. When your sister is well, you can take her to a place where she can learn martial arts, and then she will be able to protect your sister in the future. Miss, I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay by your side to repay you. Daeniu shook his head. Actually, he had selfish motives. From the first moment he saw this sister, he knew that she was not an ordinary person. If he followed her, as long as he worked hard, asked fewer questions and was sensible, she would always be able to give him a living. The most important thing is to give his sister something to eat. Suwon smiled when she heard this. This smile made Daeniu dazed. He had never seen such a beautiful sister in his life. She was like a fairy from heaven. Kid, I know what you're thinking. I'll arrange for you to go to a place where you can eat well, wear warm clothes, and no one can bully you. It's much better than following me. You won't learn anything from me. But you saved me, miss, so I should stay here to repay you. My mother said that even a drop of kindness should be repaid with a spring. Don't worry, sister. I eat very little and my younger sister eats very little too. Besides, I am very strong and can do a lot of work. Daeniu's words made Su-yi laugh. He smiled at Daeniu and said, How can you have so much energy if you don't eat more? For a moment, Dainyu didn't know how to answer. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Anyway, I just want to tell you that when you go to that place in the future, you can become a powerful person like these brothers, able to climb walls and run on rooftops and do good deeds. You can think about it slowly.
There's still time.
Suwon thought that he didn't trust others at the moment, but just subconsciously trusted himself, who saved them. After getting along for a while, he would be able to figure out whether it was good or bad. After staying in Jeju for a month, after Yuan Hall opened, Suwon prepared to set off for Yu County, Minzhou. During this period, the brother and sister Daniyo and Arya have recovered their health and gained weight. Compared with their previous skinny appearance, they now look more like normal children of their age. Especially Arya, who looks fair and clean after gaining weight, with 2 dimples when she smiles, big eyes, and beautiful eyeballs like grapes. Daniyo has a smart look, and he was particularly cautious during his time in the inn. He helped the guards with their work and moving things and didn't talk much. He just stood quietly outside Suwon's door. Suwon told him not to stay, and he refused. Every time Luyan did some work, he would rush to do it. Whenever Suwon wanted to eat any snacks, he would offer to run errands for her. During the meal, Wan, Su-yi, and Luyan Luiying sat at one table, while the guards sat at 2 tables. After Arya was able to get out of bed, the brother and sister ate with the guards. However, they always carried their own bowls, picked up a few dishes, and squatted in the corner to eat. Their humble and cautious appearance was heartbreaking. Moreover, he only ate 1 bowl of rice at each meal, for fear that he would eat too much and dislike Suwon and Su-yi, even though the brother and sister were clearly not full. Seeing this, Suwon could only tell them that since they were staying at her place for the day, they should eat until they were full. However, the 2 children still did not listen and insisted on eating only 1 bowl, so Su-yi took a hard approach. He told them that he hated this pretentious look the most. The 2 children were frightened and no longer tried to eat only 1 bowl of food, but ate until they were full. Every time after eating, there is always not a grain of rice left in the bowl. Only when you have experienced hunger do you know how precious food is. Mr. Zhao-san was probably taught a lesson and suspected that Suwon was some big shot who he could not afford to offend, so he never came to cause trouble again. Now that the matter of Jeju was settled, Suwon didn't want to delay any longer and immediately went to Yu County, Minzhou. But before leaving, Dainyu and Arya had to find a way to get her to Fengyue Villa. There is an intelligence point of Fengyue Villa in Jeju City. Send the child there, and they will send someone to take the child to Fengyue Villa. However, Dainyu was too stubborn. He insisted on staying with Suwon and refused to go to Fengyue Villa. No matter how much he was persuaded and how much reason he had given, he finally wavered a little. Fengyue Villa is undoubtedly the best place for the 2 brothers and sisters. They have been with Suwon during this period and have enough meals every day. But they don't know what the place they're going to is like, and whether it will be better than being with Suwon. Being homeless, hungry, and cold. So he finally found a life-saving straw and didn't want to lose it, mainly for his sister. I want her to have a good place. But now, Suwon has already chosen a place for them. Brother Ainen and the others have always told them about their days at Fengyue Villa. It's nothing special, but they have food, drink, shelter, and can learn a lot of skills. In the future, when I have learned some skills, I can come back to repay my sister. Therefore, Dainyu agreed to stay and go to Fengyue Villa. After staying in Jeju for a month, most of the refugees outside the city have been reduced to a minimum. It will take another 5 or 6 days to reach Minji-Yuxian. The further you go, the more desolate the area becomes, with lush and dead trees everywhere. Su Jing's Du Shui Ling mansion was in Minzhou City, but he often lived in a courtyard built on the hillside in Yu County. He drew a picture about the construction of the dam. He drew based on the terrain of the upper reaches of the Xian River seems complicated, but once built, it can effectively withstand severe floods during the flood season every year through some unique features of the dam. After this drawing was presented, the emperor immediately ordered that no effort should be spared in the construction of the Xuanhe River Dam, no matter how much money and material resources it would cost. After all, once the dam was built, it would be a great cause that would benefit future generations, and it had to be built no matter how great the pressure was. Now the former and harems have cut down on expenses, with the queen taking the lead, ordered all the concubines in the harem to take out money and gold and silver as donations. Now no one dares to wear gold and silver. Now we have to build dams and fight on the front line, which requires a large amount of military supplies. The emperor does not allow his subjects to waste. Once discovered, it will be a serious crime. And near the Xuanhe River basin, Su Jing has begun leading a group of soldiers and civilians to plant trees, widen the river, and divert water into the fields. He even discovered a substance called limestone, which he mined, ground into lime powder, burned at high temperatures, mixed with clay, added water, and then pasted on brick walls. In this way, the walls built were indestructible and could withstand hundreds of years of wind and sun, and would be able to withstand floods during the flood season. Su Jing was very smart. In addition to these, he also requested an imperial decree to raise the river banks at certain points in the Xian River basin and dredge mud from the riverbed for reconstruction, which would not only reduce the materials needed for reconstruction, but also deepen the riverbed. Su Wan didn't say hello before leaving. When passing by Minzhou City, he found that a large number of refugees had gathered at the city gate, and the situation inside the city was not much better. I went into the city and took a look around. Although the damage here was not very serious, it is a provincial capital after all. It is so poor that it is even worse than Jeju. After seeing this situation, Su Wan realized that there was no need to rush to open a branch in Minzhou, as there would probably be no business even if he did. However, Su Wan discovered something interesting. That is, she actually met Guyu in Minzhou. Guess what she was doing in Minzhou? Opened a soup kitchen at the gate of Minzhou City to provide relief to the refugees. Su Wan and Su Yi stayed in an inn in Minzhou for one night. Because their brother was not at home, they did not go to Du Shuiling Mansion. While eating, they heard the tenants downstairs talking about Miss Gu at the city gate. This Miss Gu is really kind-hearted. She has opened a porridge stall at the gate of our Minzhou City for more than a month. She personally serves porridge to the refugees every day. She also invited doctors and brought medicinal herbs to treat the refugees. It is said that she also donated 50,000 taels of silver to build the Xuanhe Dam. She is simply the reincarnation of Guanyin, a living bodhisattva who saves people from suffering. Yes, if there were more good people like Miss Gu in this world, there would be less suffering in the world. Su Yi and Su Wan were both confused when they heard this. Especially Su Wan, she didn't know why Guyu did this. She didn't do these things in the original book. So is she spending so much energy and financial resources just to earn a good reputation? And be the case. Guyu must have her own reasons for doing these things. Su Wan thought about it, and there was only one conclusion in his mind. That is, Guyu did all these to earn a good reputation for herself, so that she could gain an identity in the future that would be worthy of her brother Sheng. This donation is a total of 50,000 taels, which is a huge amount. In the original novel, Su Wan did all kinds of bad things and was not liked by the Su family. Later, his brothers asked for a county lord status for Guyu. After Guyu became a county lady, she was no longer an ordinary merchant girl and naturally became worthy of Morong Sheng. The Su family was disappointed in Guyu because of Su Yun. She couldn't take advantage of the Su family's power, so she had to find a way to earn fame on her own, right? Miss Gu is so kind that she even went all the way from Yenzhou to Minzhou to provide disaster relief and donate money. She is truly a rare good person. Su Yi smiled while drinking tea and raised his eyebrows. Su Wan curled his lips when he heard this, feeling a little jealous. Fifth brother, I feel relieved to hear the tone of your words. Su Wan thought, could it be that after this incident, fifth brother changed his mind about her and would continue to be nice to her in the future? What should she do then? Once Guyu gains power, she will never let me have an easy time. She wants to be better than me in everything. Su Yi couldn't help laughing when he heard her tone, and hurriedly coaxed. How could that be? No matter how good she is no longer a member of our Su family. And what she did to my fourth brother is unforgivable. I will always have a thorn in my heart. If she only thinks of pushing others out to block the knife and let herself survive before danger comes, then no matter how many good things she does afterwards, it will be useless. If there is a first time, there will be a second time. You can never wake up a selfish person. Su-yi is a very clear-headed person. He has long been extremely disappointed with Guyu, and their relationship was just average when they were at home. Guyu was born to give people a condescending feeling. She was obviously also in a quagmire, but she always stood on the commanding heights and denied the efforts of others. Just because of this, he will never be able to treat her the same way as before. After hearing what his fifth brother said, Su-won's uneasiness was slightly relieved. That's good. After all, her character died because of Guyu in the original novel. If Guyu still got everyone's support like in the original novel, wouldn't all her efforts be in vain? Since I'm in Minzhou, I have to do something practical. Tomorrow I'll buy 3,000 kilograms of brown rice and send it to the city gate. This will be our way of showing our appreciation to the people of Minzhou. Su-won thought, since Jeju has also donated, then Minzhou must also donate, and they must donate more. Okay, I'll do as you say. Su-yi agreed with this approach. So the next day, Su-won asked someone to buy 3,000 kilograms of brown rice and sent it to the city gate. At the same time, Su-won's carriage also left the city and headed for Yu County. Guyu had been arranging porridge distribution early in the morning, and the refugees lined up in an orderly manner to receive the porridge. Brown rice is always used to cook porridge. Brown rice is enough to cook porridge. There is no need to use japonica rice. For the victims, it is good enough to have something to eat. The maid beside Guyu ran over to tell her that 3,000 kilograms of brown rice had been donated to the porridge shed for Miss Su.
Miss Su?
Which Miss Su was mentioned, Guyu's heart skipped a beat, and she subconsciously thought of Su-won. I don't know which Miss Su she is, I just said her last name is Su. The maid shook her head and replied. Guyu felt strange and fell into deep thought as he looked at the carts of food. At this time, a convoy passed by the city gate, attracting everyone's attention. When Guyu raised her eyes, her gaze met Su-won's as she lifted the carriage curtain and looked out. She looked at Su-won in a daze, and Su-won also looked at her, but Su-won seemed much more calm and composed. He smiled at her meaningfully, and then lowered the curtain. Regardless of what Guyu's purpose was in doing all this, there is no doubt that she was indeed doing good things. Guyu lowered her eyes, wondering why Su-won appeared in Minzhou. This place suffered severe flood disasters and was not suitable for expanding business at all, so she must have come here for Su Jing. Guyu thought about it carefully. Maybe she should go to Yu County, at least to show her face in front of Su Jing. Now Su Jing has gained the trust of the emperor, and the construction of the Xuanhe River Dam is progressing smoothly. The people in the Xuanhe River Basin praise him highly. When the Xian River Dam is built, he will definitely become a new noble in the court, at least a third-rank official. Brother Sheng said that he needs such fresh blood to become his helper in the future. She has already donated 50,000 taels of silver to the Xuanhe Dam, which is something Su-won cannot afford. Su Jing must know that this is her handiwork. After he goes there, he should treat her with courtesy. Miss, when can we go back? Guyu was thinking when Chen Hong's sad voice suddenly sounded behind him. When I turned around, I saw that she looked impatient. Go pack up and let's go to Yu County, Guyu ordered directly. When Chen Hong heard the first half of the sentence, she thought that she was finally ready to leave this darn place and return to Yenzhou, but when she heard the second half of the sentence, she felt like a bucket of cold water was poured on her. Why do we have to go to a worse place? It's all for nothing. Miss, why are we going to Yu County? The conditions there are even more difficult than in Minzhou, with mud and sand everywhere. Chen Hong's disdainful expression made Guyu feel angry. Could it be that she really wanted to stay here? It was for the future glory and for Brother Sheng. Just go if I tell you to. Why are you talking so much nonsense? If you can't stand this hardship, just go back to Xiangzhou. I won't stop you. After all, could it be that he has been relying on the little friendship they had in Yangguo and really takes himself seriously and dares to interfere with her decision? Guyu lost her temper. Chen Hong shuddered with fear and immediately admitted her mistake. I'm sorry, miss. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have said so much. Please don't chase me away. I'll go pack my things now. After apologizing, Cheninghong left quickly. Guyu let out a long sigh and looked at the huge crowd of disaster victims. Each of them had a sour smell on them. She had to endure the nausea and chat and laugh with them, pretending to be gentle. If it wasn't for Brother Sheng's great cause, she would not have come here. Set out from Minzhou City early in the morning and arrived in Yu County in the evening. He never expected that Su Wan and Su Yi would come. Now the disaster-stricken areas in the Xuanhe River Basin are being rebuilt, and the embankment is also being worked on day and night. Before, Su Wan had told him about the two-shift method. By adopting a shift arrangement method, with the day shift and the night shift lasting half a month each, and a day off in between shift changes, everyone can work day and night to build the dam while ensuring their strength and health, thus saving time. Therefore, even though it was evening and the sun had already set, Su Jing was still supervising the dam and studying the blueprints. The flood season has passed. The water flow in Xian River is fast, but the water level is normal. Except for the spring when it is very dangerous, it is relatively safe at other times. This year there happened to be a major flood, which destroyed many villages and towns. They had only been rebuilt a few years ago, and now they have to be rebuilt again. Fortunately, his dam was made of cement and it did not collapse, so the loss was not great after the flood, and he could just continue building. The dam will be completed in less than 2 years at most. When Su Wan and Su Yi arrived, there was half-dried yellow mud under their feet. Looking around, there was no green plant at all. It was much more desolate than Minzhou. Su Jing settled halfway up the mountain. There were many houses built on the mountainside for the workers and soldiers working on the dam to live in. It was like a small village that could accommodate hundreds or even thousands of people.
Everyone respected Su Jing.
Among all the Du Xuelings, he was the most approachable and lived on the dike almost every day, unlike the previous Du Xuelings who only came to visit twice a month and considered it a job. Therefore, Su Jing's small courtyard was actually the cleanest, tidiest, and most solid of all the houses. After entering the county town, they greeted the county magistrate, who immediately arranged for Su Wan and his party to stay in the county magistrate's mansion, and then sent someone to report to Lord Su. When Su Wan arrived at the county magistrate's mansion, he found that it was also very shabby. It was a small house with 3 entrances. It looked very old, and there were only a few maids and servants serving. The county magistrate's wife was even more plain, wearing plain clothes and no decoration on her head. She also cooked for them herself. It took Su Jing half an hour to ride back to the county on horseback. When he heard the Yamen runner's report that his younger sister and 5th brother had come to visit him and were now staying at the county magistrate's mansion, Su Jing was pleasantly surprised and immediately rode back to the county magistrate's house. On the way, Su Jing's face was always smiling. Even the soldiers and civilians who were building the dam said that it was the first time they saw an adult returning home so enthusiastically. His younger brothers and sisters have arrived, and this time the adults can finally go back and rest for a few days in peace. When Su Wan saw his elder brother, he burst into tears on the spot. My eldest brother has become darker and thinner, with a layer of stubble on his chin. His shoes are covered with mud, and the mud on the corners of his robe has dried up. How can one not feel sorry for my eldest brother, who usually looks so bright and handsome, now looks like this due to overwork? Wan, Ai, why did you suddenly come to Yu County? Su Jing's face was full of smiles, but he couldn't hide the haggardness and fatigue on his face. Brother, we came here specially to see you. Su Wan approached him with tears in his eyes. Don't come over yet, big brother is dirty. After I take a shower and change my clothes, the 3 of us brothers and sisters can slowly reminisce about the past. Su Jing stretched out his hand to stop Su Wan from moving forward. In his opinion, their daughter Wan's clothes should always be clean, and if he hadn't come back in a hurry, he would never have seen her in such a dirty and miserable state. Su Wan felt warm in her heart. Big brother, no matter when or where, he was always so gentle to her. Sir, the hot water is ready, you may go take a bath, and the meal will be ready soon. The county magistrate's wife smiled innocently. When she looked at Lord Su, She would always think that if Lord Su had a younger sister, she would definitely be very beautiful. With such a beautiful appearance, it would be better for him to have a daughter in the future. Thank you for your hard work, madam. I will go take a shower and change clothes now. Su Jing bowed to her. You're too polite, sir. You have done your best for the people of Xuanhe. I am just a woman in the back house. I can't help much. I can only do my best in the back. You don't have to mention these little things. It can be seen that the county magistrate's wife is also a woman who understands the ways of the world very well and has a very kind face. The county magistrate looks very honest and simple, which can be seen from the house where he lives. Master Su, you are back. Suddenly, a female voice with a hint of surprise sounded behind Su Jing. Su-won glanced sideways and saw a young girl who looked about 17 or 18 years old. She was wearing a plain dress and was dressed very simply, with only a silver hairpin in her hair. She looked at Su Jing with eyes that showed no sign of concealing her admiration. This is the look a woman would have when looking at a man she likes. Yuang, you're back. The county magistrate's wife looked lovingly at the woman she called Yuang, then walked towards her and introduced her to everyone. This is my daughter, my Yuang. She is studying pharmacology at the county clinic and only comes back at this time every day. Yuang, these two are Lord Su's brother and sister, Master Su Yi and Miss Su-won. When she heard that they were Su Jing's younger brother and sister, Ma Yuang immediately walked forward and bowed to them.
Mr. Su, Miss Su, Thing.
Hello, Miss Yuang. Su-won and Su Yi also politely returned the greeting. It's getting late. I won't delay any longer and go take a bath first. Su Jing nodded to everyone and returned to the room that the county magistrate had prepared for him in the mansion. Shizi and Juzi had already gone to pack up in advance. They were the two servants that Su-won bought before Su Jing took office. Yu County has not been easy lately, so the county magistrate's wife personally cooked a meal. There are cured meat, cured fish, and stewed chicken, and the rest are some vegetarian dishes. The county magistrate's wife felt very embarrassed because she had nothing good to offer to entertain the guests. Su-won came with a lot of gifts. She also brought so many people with her, and they all needed to eat. Life in Yu County was not easy, so she discussed with Su Yi and decided that after seeing her eldest brother, she would stay for a few days and then leave, so as not to trouble others here. After Su Jing took a bath, he changed into clean clothes. He was still wearing the clothes that his mother had prepared for him last year. He was very thrifty. After coming here, he used all the money he had to subsidize the soldiers and civilians. He relied on that little salary every month to support himself and his two servants. In such a huge Du Shui Ling mansion, there is not even a servant to serve. Miss Su, Mr. Su, we don't have anything good to treat you to here. Please forgive us. The county magistrate's wife said very embarrassedly. Madam, this is already very rich. You don't have to worry about us too much. Just treat us as ordinary people. We can eat anything as long as we are full. The Su family was also from the countryside 2 years ago and lived a hard life, so even if the conditions here are not good, they can bear it. Miss Su is a precious lady, and Lord Su has worked hard for the people of Xuanhe. You have come from afar, and it is really rude of us to let you eat and sleep poorly. This time it was the county magistrate who spoke. Ma, you don't have to be too nervous. We are all from humble backgrounds and have lived through even more difficult times. This is already a great life. You and your wife don't have to blame yourselves. Su Jing was considered a relatively down-to-earth official. He was a fifth-rank official, and he didn't put on airs. He could mingle well with the common people. As the saying goes, a higher-ranking official can crush a person to death. Even Magistrate Ma didn't feel any pressure from him in front of him. Sir Su, you are such a rare and good official. Yuang offers you a toast. Ma Yuang picked up her wine glass, blushing, and looked at Su Jing lovingly. Su Wan and Su Yi were both here, but she only had eyes for Su Jing. It was inappropriate to toast only him. The county magistrate's wife saw this and knew it was inappropriate, so she tried to smooth things over. Yuang, Miss Su and Mr. Su have come from afar, so I would like to greet you first. Ma Yuang also realized her mistake and looked a little embarrassed. She looked at Su Wan and Su Yi and said with a smile, Yuang is ignorant. Let me first thank you for coming from such a long distance and for your hardship. Su Wan and Su Yi were not the impolite types, so they raised their glasses and clinked them with hers. Miss Yuang, you're too polite. Ma Yuang smiled shyly and looked at Su Jing again. She deliberately sat next to Su Jing, but Su Jing deliberately leaned towards Su Wan. She still hadn't given up the idea of toasting Su Jing alone. Now, she has changed into a pink dress again, pinned a few pearl flowers on her hair, and put on rouge, looking like a sister who is a little scheming. However, her skin is not very white, and with such pink rouge on her, it looks even darker. Master Su, I want to toast you. You have worked hard. Su Jing couldn't refuse, so he nodded and smiled at her and clinked glasses with her. After that, Ma Yuang picked up some food for Su Jing from time to time, but the food on the plate was not touched by the eldest brother at all. Ma Yuang's appearance was not particularly outstanding, but it seemed that the eldest brother was born with a romantic destiny, and there was no shortage of girls who liked him wherever he went. Moreover, the geographical environment in Yu County is not good, so Ma Yuang does not look as pretty as the girls in other areas of Jiangnan. Her skin is a little rough. When she sits with Su Wan, it can be clearly seen that Su Wan's skin is delicate and tender, and it seems that it will turn red if touched lightly. To be honest, Su Wan didn't have a very good impression of Miss Ma, and she naturally didn't want anything to happen between her and her eldest brother. Su Jing also didn't want to have anything to do with Miss Ma, but the county magistrate and his wife clearly knew what their daughter was thinking, but they pretended not to know and let her do what she wanted. They would only give her a heads up if they saw something was going too far. Wan, please change seats with me. You and Miss Yuang are of similar age, so it will be more convenient for us to talk. The eldest brother's face. It was obvious that he didn't want to have anything to do with Miss Yuang at all. Su Wan naturally followed his wishes and changed seats with him. His action made the county magistrate and his wife look embarrassed. Ma Yuang was also a little uncomfortable, holding the cup tightly in her hand. During the meal was a little subtle. Su Wan also temporarily decided not to stay at the county magistrate's house. After tonight, they would move to the inn in the county. The eldest brother didn't want to have anything to do with them, so he naturally had to draw a clear line. But before Su Wan could speak, after dinner, Su Jing took the initiative to talk to the county magistrate. Master Ma, the three of us brothers and sisters will stay in your house tonight. Tomorrow morning, I will take them to live in Bahang. There's still vacancies there, so I won't bother you here anymore. Master Su, this is not allowed. Miss Su and Master Su are both very precious. The conditions on the dam are harsh and dangerous. You don't have to worry about troubling us. Everything should be based on the comfort of Miss Su and Master Su. Upon hearing this, the county magistrate hurriedly tried to persuade him to stay. Yes, Lord Su, the dam is covered with yellow sand and mud, and the wind is strong. I'm afraid Miss Su won't be used to it if she goes there. It's better for her to live here with us. The county magistrate's wife echoed. Now that the flood season has passed, there will be no danger as long as you don't go up to the dam. Besides, my yard is usually kept clean and tidy. My younger sister and brother don't like to trouble others and will feel uncomfortable. You two don't need to keep us. Su Jing was determined not to let them live here. It would be pointless if the county magistrate and his wife kept trying to keep them. So, the two of them stopped talking, but Miss Ma Yuang looked at Su Jing pitifully with tears in her eyes. Sir Su, is there anything we did wrong that made you or Miss Su and Mr. Su unhappy? Just tell us and we will correct it. Why do we have to leave? We finally came back. What do you mean it's so hard to come back? It's as if the eldest brother is her husband. Ms. Yuang, your words are too serious. We just don't want to trouble you. How can we talk about whether we are doing well or not? Besides, we also want to go to the place where Big Brother usually works and take a look. We will leave after 2 days. Su Wan saw that he couldn't explain himself clearly, so he just said it directly. The county magistrate is an 8th rank official, and her eldest brother is at least a 5th rank official, so they are like a family. She feels that sometimes her eldest brother has to maintain his official airs, Otherwise, it would not be good to give people the impression that he is difficult to talk to. Besides, as a girl, it is better to be reserved. In ancient times, if you were too generous, it would lower your status. To put it bluntly, no matter what dynasty it is, girls are not allowed to pay for their husbands. The county magistrate and his wife knew they couldn't keep their daughter, so they didn't try to keep her. They actually hoped that their daughter could win Lord Su's favor, so that when the Shuanha Dam was completed, she could go to Kyoto to enjoy the good life, and he could help them at the same time. But now it seems that Lord Su's attitude is very clear. He doesn't think highly of their daughter at all, and just wants to draw a clear line between them. Their silly daughter is still dreaming unrealistically. Look at Miss Su, how well she is taken care of. Her every move, every frown and smile are all like those of a wealthy family, so generous and dignified. They can't compare to her at all. Lord Su, okay Yueying, Master Su has finally reunited with his family. Let's save some space for you to have a good chat with Miss Su and Master Su. Sir Su, you have worked hard supervising the workers on the dam. Go to bed early tonight, and we will not disturb you. Fortunately, the county magistrate's wife had good foresight and pulled her daughter away. They didn't stop it because they were hoping for a lucky break. What if they succeeded? But now the other party's attitude is very clear, so there is no need to rush to give in. Pushing too hard will only make people disgusted. He is a fifth-rank Du Shuiling. A higher-ranking official can crush people, let alone a third-rank one. But he is giving you face and not putting on airs. So you have to be more tactful. Since you can't be a family, don't offend him, right? After the county magistrate and his wife and Ma Yueying left, the three siblings finally had some time to talk to each other. The county magistrate's wife gave the three of them adjacent rooms so that they could reminisce about the past. The three siblings sat in the yard. Su Wan asked Lu Yun and Lu Ying to make tea. She brought some good tea leaves in the carriage. She gave some to the county magistrate's family as a gift and kept some for herself. The three of them talked about the situation at home since they had been apart for more than a year and asked whether their parents were in good health now. Su's father and mother are all good. Su Wan even specially bought maids and old women to serve them so they don't have to worry about their daily life. 2 new cooks have been added to the kitchen, so 3 meals a day are prepared and they can just eat them. If they want to eat something, just let them know. The old couple enjoys a leisurely life. Su Wan told her eldest brother that her business now spreads across Jiangnan and Zhengzhou regions, and that the market in Kyoto will also be opened at the beginning of next year. There was also the news that Yang Qingqing had gotten married, and that Fourth Brothers restaurant had finally opened and was doing brisk business. Chenglu? What a nice name. I can tell it was you who chose it. When Su Jing learned that the Fourth Brothers restaurant was named Chenglu, he knew it must have been named by Su Wan. Only she had such a talent. Brother still understands me.
Shuwan smile.
Su Yi also told Su Jing about his experiences in the past year. When Su Jing heard the name of Mr. Qian, he couldn't help but express his surprise. How could Master Qian think so highly of you? He is also a famous scholar in Kyoto. I thought he was from Kyoto, but I didn't expect that his hometown is actually our Xiangzhou. Yes, I didn't expect that there is such a great scholar in our Xiangzhou. It is my honor to receive his guidance. Su Yi is still quite humble in this regard. Su Wan was willing to tell her eldest brother everything, even telling him about her trip to Fengyue Villa. However, the thrilling and tortuous process was omitted, and only the good aspects were mentioned. The eldest brother also realized at this moment that during the time he was away, their little girl had been abducted. The man's name is Jiang Yu. Suddenly recalling some details from the past, Su Jing always felt that there was endless tenderness in Jiang Yu's eyes when he looked at their daughter Wanwan. He didn't understand it at that time, but he understood it now. Long before he knew it, Jiang Yu had been secretly eyeing their little sister.
Shuhing suddenly felt cheated.
I treated you as a brother, but you were thinking about my sister. I will have to have a good talk with Jiang Yu when I see him again in the future. Our Wanwan is now a big girl. Your brother hasn't even had the chance to take a good look at you or talk to you, and you've already grown up. Su Jing raised his hand and gently rubbed Su Wan's head, just like he did when he first brought her back. For a moment, he was filled with emotion. Sometimes he wondered why fate was so cruel to make their two families encounter such bloody things. If he hadn't made a mistake, he wouldn't be lamenting now that he had participated in her life for too short a time. Soo-won is very good, so good that even he, the eldest brother, feels a little ashamed. It was her return that changed this family and put everyone on the best path. Brother, you re-talking as if I'm getting married tomorrow. I'm telling you, even if I get married, I'll still come home every few days to annoy you and my future sister-in-law. Soo-won started teasing Ba as soon as they had a disagreement. Soo-jing was successfully amused by her, and Soo-yi also laughed. As long as you are willing to go home, I will not bother you no matter what. I am just worried that you don't want to come back. We don't see you often, but we miss you. What do you think we should do? Otherwise, you can ask your sweetheart later if he is willing to be your son-in-law. This way, everything will be easy. We can see each other every day, and we don't have to worry about each other. Soo-jing did it on purpose, wanting to see what Soo-won would say. If my future brother-in-law is Jong-yu, it would be unrealistic to let him be my son-in-law, as he looks like a child from a wealthy family. Now, Soo-jing still doesn't know that Jong-yu is the eldest son of Duke Jong. When Soo-won heard this, she started to wonder, let Jong-yu be the son-in-law. With him personally, but Duke Jong might not be happy. Oh, brother, how old am I? You're already at the right age to get married. Why don't you hurry up and find me a sister-in-law? Soo-won pretended to be embarrassed and turned the topic directly to Soo-jing. When Soo-jing mentioned his marriage, he smiled awkwardly, covered his lips, and coughed a few times. His face unconsciously reddened. Soo-won and Soo-yi saw that something was going on. Brother, do you have a girl you like?
Who is she?
In the original novel, the eldest brother's official match with Xiao Shiyun was ruined by her. Now she is curious about what kind of sister-in-law the eldest brother will find for her in the future. Looking at his brother and sister's gossipy faces, Soo-jing thought of that girl, and the smile on his face widened. However, this was just his one-sided love, and he was not sure what the girl felt. There's no such thing as a girl I like.
Shohin.
Brother, you are lying. Your face is red.
Tell me who it is.
Otherwise, don't even think about going back to your room to sleep tonight. Soo-won's gossipy soul was burning. She really wanted to know who the girl was that could win the heart of her elder brother. Yes, big brother, just tell us, and we promise not to tell anyone. Not only Soo-won was curious, but even Soo-yi was curious. Soo-jing saw the two of them pressing on step by step, and the gossipy look on their faces, so he smiled helplessly. Forget it, forget it. If I don't give them an explanation tonight, I'm afraid I really won't be able to go back to my room and sleep. She is the youngest daughter of the Grand Secretary's mansion in Kyoto, Shun Qingli. I have met her several times and we had a good chat. Miss Shun is a beautiful and elegant lady, a famous talent in Kyoto, and she is unmarried. However, the family background of the Grand Secretary's mansion is not suitable for me now. When I first met Miss Shun, she was already 28 years old, and I was transferred by the Emperor to be the water commander of Xuanhe. And this is a few years. I know very well what these few short years mean to a young girl in her prime, and I am afraid of delaying her. In addition, there was a rumor in Kyoto that the Prince of Xiang's mansion intended to ask Miss Shin-san to be his consort on behalf of the prince. My status with the Prince of Xiang was very important. It's a far cry from that. Now that I think about it, third Miss Shun is probably already married. 28 years old is 16 years old, which was the best age to get married in ancient times. Soo-jing's worries were not unreasonable. If it was because of him, Miss Shun would have to wait for him for several years, and by then she would be 18 or 19 years old. Being unmarried at the age of 18 or 19 would be the easiest to be criticized and pointed out in this feudal and superstitious era, especially in a place like Kyoto. She was the legitimate daughter of the Grand Secretary's mansion and should not have to endure those rumors. The Prince of Xiang had a good reputation, and the Princess of Xiang was also well known for her virtue. This marriage was a good destination for her. And how could he let her endure those rumors just because of his own selfish motives? After listening to what he said, Soo-won understood one thing. His elder brother had feelings for someone else, but he didn't know whether the other person had any feelings for him. "Brother, do you know how Miss Sin feels about you?" Su Jing heard this and shook his head.
I don't know how she feels about me.
"I just know that I can't delay her, so I never expressed my feelings to her." This silly brother, Su-won is helpless. If you don't tell others, how can they know your feelings and how can they give you a chance? "Brother, this is a matter of love, not an official position. How can you be selfless? Love is inherently selfish. How can you have a chance if you are not selfish? If Miss Shin really marries the Prince of Xiong, you will never have another chance." These words came from Su Yi's mouth, and they really touched Su-won's heart. You see, the fifth brother understands the truth, but the eldest brother doesn't. "Brother, can you tell me in detail how you and Miss Shin met? How many times have you met? Have you ever given each other gifts? I'll analyze it for you. I'm also a girl, so maybe I can guess what Miss Shin is thinking." Su-won needs to know those details. Su Jing felt a little embarrassed when he heard this, but he still said it. He and third Miss Shun first met at the Grand Secretary's residence. At that time, he ranked first in the examination, so the Grand Secretary invited him to visit him. He met third Miss Shun in the back garden, who was playing the pipo in the pavilion at that time. The third young lady heard his name. She was immediately very excited because he had written a poem in the examination topic. After reading it, she thought it was particularly beautiful and had always wanted to meet this champion. So, the two of them sat in the pavilion, drinking and singing, reciting poems and composing essays. They had a very pleasant conversation and felt that they had met too late. The two talented people were attracted to each other and met several times afterwards. The third young lady even specially organized a poetry gathering and invited Su Jing to come. Su Jing became famous in the poetry gathering and got to know many talented men and women in Kyoto. After a few visits, they met a few more times. Every time they talked, they had the same views, like close friends. The eldest brother also fell deeply in love with Miss Shin. Afterwards, he won the top spot in the imperial examination, and the third lady personally congratulated him. After that, when he received the appointment order to Xuanhe, the third lady came to the city gate to see him off and gave him an emerald gem ring. During this period, Su Jing once gave Miss Shin Sen a poem and a jade hairpin. Su-won knew that the girl his elder brother liked must be a talented one, the kind who could sing to the moon, recite poems, and compose essays with him under the flowers and moon. So romantic. However, she also captured the key information, the emerald gemstone ring that Miss Shin Sen gave him before leaving. "Brother, can you let me see the gemstone jade ring that Miss Shin gave you?" In ancient times, women gave men gifts such as sachets and jade pendants, love knots and necklaces, and even handkerchiefs, but no one had ever heard of giving men rings. But she seemed to have forgotten that she was the one who gave the ring. Su Jing nodded, then took out the ring from his inner garment. He really did. Su-won was crying her heart out. How much must he like this guy to even put him so close to his chest? The ring was handed to Su-won. She looked at it carefully. The water quality was excellent, without any impurities. It was a men's style and was exquisitely made. It must have cost a lot of money. "Brother, it seems that Miss Shun is very fond of you. This jade ring is of very good quality," Su-yi said with a smile. Su Jing smiled a little embarrassedly. He didn't dare to ask for it at first because it was too expensive. But Shun Qingli stuffed it into his hand and ran away. He thought at the time that this was a good thing, as he could think of the person by looking at the object, which was also a way of keeping the thought in mind. Su-won took the ring and pondered it over and over again, carefully examining it inside and out, wishing he could see through it. She wondered if she could find some clues in this. "Wan, what are you looking for? Is there any secret behind this ring?" Su-yi noticed that something was wrong with her and asked. Su-won didn't say anything because she did notice something different. She found that the base on which the emerald gem was inlaid could actually be unscrewed. She looked at Su Jing and Su-yi in surprise, then began to twist it in the direction. After a while, the jadeite gem and the base were separated from the ring. There was indeed a secret hidden inside. A small note was stuck inside the base. neatly folded. Suwon took it out and was about to open it to have a look, but Su Jing snatched it away. His heart was pounding at this moment, and he felt his breathing quicken. Because it was given to him by Miss Shin-san, he treasured it very much. He would just look at it quietly after taking it out, and did not deliberately look for any mystery in it. Now that Suwon had arrived, he easily figured out the mystery, which made him surprised and happy. "Brother, open it and see what's written inside." Suwon couldn't wait to know the contents. Su Jing placed the jewel ring and the ring on the table, then unfolded the note. The note was very small, with a line of words written on it. Suwon and Su-yi couldn't see it either. Su Jing only glanced at it. His face quickly turned red, his eyebrows and eyes were filled with smiles, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. He held the note in his palm, which made Suwon very anxious. "Brother, what exactly is written? Tell me quickly." Su Jing felt quite embarrassed, so he handed the note to Suwon. He held the note in his hand, causing it to become a little wrinkled, but you can still see the words clearly. Sui leaned over and the brother and sister looked together. When Suwon saw a beautiful handwriting of small calligraphy with hairpin flowers, he felt ashamed of himself. It was obvious from every stroke that the person who wrote this must be a talented woman. It says, "I wish to win the heart of one person and stay with him till we are old." What does this mean? Isn't it obvious? Miss Shen is expressing her love to Su Jing. However, Su Jing had never expressed his love to her, and she didn't know what he felt. But she was a woman, and if she was too proactive and straightforward, her reputation would be ruined if she was rejected, and she would be ashamed to death. On the one hand, she didn't want to know the result. If she was really rejected, how embarrassed would she be? It would be better to lie to herself. So, Miss Shin-san made such a ring with a hidden secret. If this love can never be revealed, then they are not destined to be together. But if this love can see the light of day one day, how will he respond? "Brother, you are not unrequited love. Third Miss Shin also likes you." Suwon was very happy because he found his perfect match tonight. Su Jing just smiled, clutching the clothes on his knees with both hands, showing his excitement and nervousness at the moment. But now a year has passed, and the Prince of Xiong might have already. Su Jing didn't dare to think further. She is a royal relative. If the emperor agrees on the marriage, it will be a done deal. Suwon knew what his elder brother was worried about, but it didn't matter. It was written in the original book that the crown princess of Prince Xiong was the legitimate daughter of the Minister of Rights, not Miss Shin from the Grand Secretary's mansion. "No, big brother. Miss Shin will wait for you. When I go to Kyoto for business, I will find a way to meet Miss Shin and express your feelings to her. When the Schwanha Dam is completed, it will be a great achievement for the ages. Didn't the emperor also promise to make you a high official? By that time, you will be a new noble in the court, young and promising. Then you can ask your parents to come and propose marriage on your behalf. Wouldn't that make it happen? As for what you said, that you were afraid of delaying third mission, that didn't exist at all. It would only make a good story. For example, third mission and number one scholar Su were in love with each other, but they were separated by 2 places. In order to wait for her lover, third mission insisted on not marrying anyone else and waited for several years. However, number one scholar lived up to everyone's expectations and built the Schwanha Dam to benefit the people. After returning to Beijing to be awarded the title, the first thing he did was to ask the Grand Secretary to marry third Mississippi. The two finally got married. What a romantic story it is. It can be written into a storybook. Suwon opened her little mouth and talked a lot with great emotion, using her hands and feet, just like those storytellers. Su Jing was comforted and acquiesced to Suwon's statement. He really wanted to respond to Miss Shin-san at this moment, but if he wrote a letter now, it would be too abrupt. The only way was to do as Suwon said, for her to meet with Shin Qingli and convey the message in person, which would show his importance to the matter. He is indeed not worthy of it now, but once the Schwanha Dam is completed, it may not be the case. The emperor will at least appoint him a third-rank official in Beijing. Then I'll have to trouble Wanwan to take care of Big Brother's future marriage. You're too polite, brother. This is what Wanwan should do. Just focus on building your career in Xuanhe. I'll help you chase your sister-in-law. Suwan solemnly picked up the teacup and drank it all, just short of signing a military order on the spot. Su Jing and Su Yi were amused by her appearance and laughed out loud. From time to time, melodious and pleasant laughter could be heard in the small courtyard, and the atmosphere was full of joy. The three siblings chatted until very late before returning to their rooms. Early the next morning, Su Jing took Su Wan and Su Yi to the yard on the dam as he had said the night before. There were 5 or 6 empty rooms in his yard, which was enough for a group of people to live in. The guards had to squeeze in a little and just bear with it for 2 days. Before leaving, he had to do some shopping in the county. In the next few days, he had to cook for himself. Su Jing didn't want his sister to come all the way here and not eat or sleep well. The morning, Ma Yuang wanted to come with them but was rejected by Su Jing on the grounds that there were not enough rooms. Ma Yuang had no choice but to give up. She watched them leave with a look of grievance on her face, without even looking back. Su Wan rode in a horse-drawn carriage on the bumpy road for half an hour before reaching the dam. The rushing water of the Xian River can be seen from afar. The mud and sand have turned the water yellow. Although it is not the flood season, it is still rolling rapidly. If you stand close to watch, you will always feel as if you are being swallowed up. Above the dam, there are many supports made of bamboo and wood, and workers are hammering on them. There were soldiers and civilians here, with their upper bodies naked, walking on a bridge built with wooden frames. Su Jing introduced his ideas to them along the way, and Su Wan and Su Yi listened carefully. The dam has now taken shape, and it will take at least 2 years to complete. Construction is suspended for 2 months during the flood season every year for the safety of the workers. In the middle and lower reaches of the river, he issued orders for officials to lead the people in planting trees on both sides of the Xian River. The upstream areas were worst hit during the flood season every year, so he dug trees from the mountains and other places and planted them directly on both sides of the upstream area. After a year of adaptation, and with plenty of water on both sides of the river, the roots of the trees are able to take root deeply in the ground. From a distance, one can see that large trees have been transplanted densely on the open space opposite the Xian River. This is a huge project that relies entirely on the concerted efforts of the military and civilians. The purpose is to be able to withstand the impact and silt when the flood season comes, so that nearby villages can be less affected. Anyway, the common people are working, and the court not only reduces taxes but also pays them wages, so why not? These floods do not occur every year, but there is one every few years, and each time it occurs, it is a devastating impact. The people on both sides of the strait have to watch their lives just get by, and then they have to start all over again. This is why the emperors of all dynasties were very distressed about the floods in the Xian River. At the beginning, there were many people who wanted to do things, but they still had too little experience and theoretical knowledge. As for Su Jing, he was able to control the flood thanks to his own understanding, his sleepless research day and night, and a series of measures listed by Su Wan. Looking at this situation, we can vaguely get a glimpse of how majestic this dam will be when it is completed. It will stand here from generation to generation, protecting the people on both sides of the strait from floods. We will live there in a while. We have to come down and walk up the mountain. The courtyard with white walls is where we will live. Su Jing opened the window and pointed towards the mountain. Looking through the carriage window, there is a small village on the mountain. The eldest brother's small courtyard with white walls looks particularly conspicuous and is the best among the small wooden houses. When they reached the foot of the mountain, the 3 siblings got off the carriage and walked up the mountain. The path leading up the mountain was paved with stones, and the weeds on one side were cleared away. The slope was not too steep, and it didn't take much effort to go up. But the higher you go, the smaller the scenery below, the rushing river, and the workers working there seem to become. But standing here, you can have a clear view of the scene below. The small courtyard looked quite small from the foot of the mountain, but after climbing up, I found that it was quite spacious. The rooms were all clean, and no one had ever lived there, except for Su Jing's original room. Shizi and Juzi were already waiting in the yard, having cleaned it thoroughly. The villagers in the mountains heard that Lord Su's family had arrived. They all sent over all the good things in their homes. There are chickens, ducks, bacon, and freshly picked vegetables. The village women usually had to cook for the dam workers. When they heard that Lord Su had a beautiful sister, they all ran into the yard to take a peek. Suwon showed it to them openly and asked Luyin and Luing to share the candies and cakes they brought with them. Miss Su is so pretty. Yes, I have lived for decades, and I have never seen such a delicate and beautiful girl. That's right. Don't you see that Lord Su is born good-looking? How can his sister be bad? Master Su's brother is also well-born. Each of them has his own merits. This whole family was carefully molded by Empress Nuwa. Only we are just a speck of clay thrown out. The village women praised the Su brothers and sisters a lot, and their smiles were simple and came from the heart. Because Su Jing was so sincere to them on a daily basis, he did not keep much of the food that Su wanted people transport for himself and confiscated it all. The guards crowded into one room, made their own bunk beds, and worked in shifts of 2 at night to keep watch. In fact, after staying in the bustling city for too long, it's quite nice to go to the countryside and live there for a few days. The most important thing is that I don't feel bored when I'm with my elder brother. My eldest brother still goes down the mountain twice a day to inspect work on the dam. The weather turned cold in early autumn, so Suwon took out some money and asked them to buy cloth to buy some clothes for the workers and soldiers to keep warm. It was all her private money, so she didn't spend much. The monthly net profit from her many stores was quite high, so it was nothing. However, she is still not as wealthy as Guyu. Her business has just started not long ago, unlike the Gu family, which has been running the business for many years and has deep roots. Those 50,000 taels were indeed nothing to them. Yu County, and went to the county magistrate's mansion to inquire. She told the county magistrate's wife that she was Su Jing's sister. The county magistrate's wife was very puzzled after hearing this. Lord Su said that he only had one younger sister in the family, and now another one has come. What's going on? Miss, are you Lord Su's cousin or cousin? Faced with the county magistrate's wife's doubts, Guyu felt embarrassed and shook her head. Neither. I think she should be considered as a stepsister. Indeed, neither of them is related by blood. We just grew up together. Guyu now thinks that she seems to be nothing in the Su family. Apart from the proof of her existence over the years, everything else seems so pale and powerless. She was an outsider, so if she wanted to go to Bahang, she had to find someone to inform Lord Su and ask him to allow Guyu to go in. When the county magistrate's wife heard that she was her sister, she did not let her stay in her house. Guyu found an inn to stay in by herself. Later, Su Wan, Su Yi, and Luyin Luing prepared the meal and waited for Su Jing to come back to eat. He went to the dam. In addition to their own food for the guards also had to be prepared, so a large iron pot was set up in the yard. Not long after Su Jing came back, someone from the county magistrate came and said that a Miss Gu wanted to see Lord Su. Su Jing has always known that Guyu donated 50,000 taels of silver to the Shuanhe Dam. Now that she has come and specifically asked to see Su Jing from a public perspective, he should go and meet her. For selfish reasons, he didn't want to have anything to do with her. So Su Jing asked Su Wan, Wan, Guyu is coming, would you like to meet her? He always knew that these two girls didn't get along. But ever since the incident with the fourth sister, Su Jing knew that the sister he once loved was not the same kind of person as their Su family. When Su Wan heard that Guyu was here, she lost her appetite. She didn't want to see her, because if they met, there would be sparks. The two of them have different magnetic fields, so it's better not to meet each other. So Su Wan hurriedly shook his head. Goodbye, I don't want to see her. My fifth brother, and I saw her in Minzhou City before we came. She set up a tent at the city gate to give out porridge. We also donated 3,000 kilograms of brown rice. It's only been less than 2 days. How come she came to Yu County? Suwon was thinking that Guyu had tried to gain Jiangyu's support from her before, but failed. Now that he saw that his big brother was building a successful business and had a bright future, he had set his sights on Su Jing and wanted to use this donation to win him over. Then she had to intervene. Her first impression of the fifth Prince Morong Sheng was not good. She felt that he relied on women to get to the top, was the one who took care of everything for him from behind, and this alone was enough to make him feel humble. Of course, do you think Guyu is really a pure love god of war? No, she is also aiming for the supreme position. Love is secondary. She does love him, but she is not a love-brained person, and she wants to fulfill her own possibility more. Now, the situation is unclear, and she must remember not to take sides arbitrarily. She needs to make things clear with her eldest brother. Since you don't want to see her, I'll send word that I'll go to the county to see her in person tomorrow morning. Now that Suwon is here, Su Jing naturally puts her comfort first in everything. He won't bring anyone she doesn't want to see in front of her. Brother, I have something to tell you. Suwon decided to tell him Jiang Yu's identity and all the attempts Guyu had made to win her over in Yenzhou. Seeing her serious expression, Su Jing realized that what she was about to say was more important. After dinner, the three siblings talked alone in the room. Brother, Jiang Yu is not the son of a merchant family in Kyoto, but the legitimate son of the current Duke of Jiang. He has a noble status, so he has been hiding something before. I have known this for a long time. Of course, what I want to talk about today is not only about this matter but also about Guyu. When they heard that Jiang Yu was the eldest son of Duke Jiang, Su Jing and Su Yi's eyes flashed with disbelief, but they soon calmed down. Both brothers are smart people. They knew that Jiang Yu's identity was not ordinary, and he must be the child of some important person in Kyoto. But no one expected that once his identity was revealed, he would turn out to be the son of a first-class marquis. Well, their family is very different from other families. The first thing they thought of was whether Wanwan would be disliked by other parents in the future. However, this is not the most important thing to consider right now. Suwon also said that there are other reasons. It's related to Guyu, what do you mean? Su Jing asked with a frown. Suwon nodded and began to speak. In the early winter of last year, I opened a branch of Yuyintang in Yenzhou and ran into Guyu. At that time, she was meeting a man. Later, I learned that this man's identity was more noble than Jiang Yu. He was the fifth Prince Morongsheng. Jiang Yu said that this fifth prince has never been prominent in Kyoto, and his family is also not prominent. He seems to be a carefree person, not fighting or showing off, but in fact he is ambitious. He saw that I had feelings for Jiang Yu, so he asked Guyu to come and lobby with me, hoping to pull the Jiangguogong mansion into his camp. Later, she was rejected by me, and we had a bad argument and were fed up with each other. Duke Jiang was in a high position and had great power, but he always remained neutral and would not take sides randomly. Now that the Xian River was flooded, she donated huge sums of money and opened a porridge stall, earning her a lot of fame. The Xian River Dam that you supervised to build has shown initial results and is only waiting for completion. You will surely be an important figure in the court in the future. The fifth prince's mother's family is not prominent, and he is weak in the court and needs help. I am afraid that Guyu came here this time to persuade you to work for the fifth prince. So I want to remind you, big brother, that our foundation is not stable right now, so you should be careful not to get on the wrong boat. Suwon also had good intentions, fearing that her elder brother would be blinded by her superficial efforts and believe her slander. In her eyes, the fifth prince is good in every way. Wasn't it the same last time? After listening to her words, Su Jing frowned deeply. He didn't know that Guyu could be involved with the current fifth prince. I have met the fifth prince once and exchanged a few words with him. He seemed to want to befriend me. I also heard some rumors while preparing for the exam in Kyoto. The fifth prince is not very prominent among the other princes. After hearing what you said today, I realized that the most inconspicuous ones are often the most dangerous. If Suwon Han told him these things today, he would have really thought that the fifth prince was just as the rumors said, an elegant man who only pursued a carefree life. It turns out that power is the most fascinating thing in this world. Brother, I am not saying this today to control your consciousness. I am just reminding you. I believe that no matter what you do in the future, you will have your own reasons. Just follow your heart. Suwon also didn't want what she said to spoil her eldest brother's rhythm. Everything she did was just for the betterment of the Su family. Seeing her like this, Su Jing couldn't help but burst out laughing. He looked at Su-won lovingly and said with a smile, "Our Wan is the lucky star bestowed by God on our Su family. You are my elder brother's guiding light. I will always trust your judgment. Don't worry, since I have entered this career path, I will be careful and cautious in the future, and I will consider every step carefully to open up a smooth road for our family." He never felt that his thoughts were being controlled. He knew that she was doing everything for his own good and for the family's good. The court is full of twists and turns. If you make a mistake one day, you will lose everything. Every step you take in the future needs to be cautious. Then, I wish us all a bright future. Sui raised the teacup and toasted his elder brother and Su-won. The three siblings drank tea instead of wine to toast a better future. The next morning, Su-jing took a carriage to Yu County to meet Guyu. Guyu received a reply last night and got ready early in the morning, waiting to meet Su-jing. When Su-jing arrived, Guyu saw her and happily stepped forward and shouted, "Brother, long time no see." Guyu was still wearing gorgeous clothes, gold and silver jewelry, pearls and jade on her head, and even put on some rouge, looking rosy-cheeked. He could only sigh in his heart that things and people have really changed. He smiled and nodded at her, but did not respond to her call of brother. Instead, he politely said, "Ms. Gu." Guyu felt extremely lost in an instant. The two of them were talking in a private room. During the meal, Su-jing was very polite and considerate. The more he was polite, the more unfamiliar he seemed. How close were they as siblings? But now he was like a stranger, keeping away from her in every way. How could Guyu not be sad? This time, Guyu came to see Su-jing not just to reminisce about the past, she came to win him over. At first, what they said were just some trivial reminiscences of the past, but later they started to mention Morong-sheng. Although she did not reveal her relationship with Morong-sheng, she was praising Morong-sheng in her words and deeds.
Guyu was also smart.
She guessed that Su-won had probably already told his eldest brother about these things, so there was no need for her to waste time explaining them. It would be better for her to be direct. Meal. Su-jing only expressed her gratitude for the donation for the construction of the Schwanha Dam and did not directly respond to any of her leading words during the meal. Anyway, it was just perfunctory and lukewarm, which made Guyu feel the feeling of punching cotton. She also truly felt Su-jing's indifference and alienation towards her. She thought that Su-won must have said something slanderous about Morong-sheng in front of her eldest brother, which caused her eldest brother's attitude to be so unclear. She was naturally angry, but there was nothing she could do. Now she regretted not having improved her relationship with Su-won. Now, she has come between them, making it difficult for her to carry out many things smoothly. Seeing that he had been here for such a long time, Su-jing wanted to go back early to accompany Wanwan. It was not easy to see her once, but she would leave again in 2 days. Shouldn't he cherish the time? So Su-jing stood up and said goodbye. "Miss Gu, there are still many things on the dam that need my decision, so I'll leave now. Before that, I would like to thank Miss Gu again on behalf of the people of Schwanha." Su-jing bowed to her, and Guyu quickly stood up to help him. "Brother, what are you doing? Why are you being so polite to me?" It's not easy for Mr. Gu to do business, but he is willing to donate generously for the people of Schwanha, which is a great virtue. However, he is not here, so I can't thank him in person. Please ask Miss Gu to convey my gratitude for me. Su-jing's words made Guyu's face even uglier. When he said thank you to Mr. Gu, wasn't he telling her in a disguised way that he wanted to thank Mr. Gu, who was able to earn this money, not her, Guyu? That's right. This money was earned by Mr. Gu with great effort and has nothing to do with her, Guyu. Guyu withdrew her hand awkwardly, the expression on her face almost unable to hold back. She walked him downstairs in silence, and the atmosphere was somewhat subtle. Before Su-jing got on the carriage, she stopped him. "Brother," hearing the voice, Su-jing turned his head slightly to look at her, with no emotion in his eyes, quietly waiting for her next words. Guyu walked forward. Her eyes were red, her nose was sore, and her words were tinged with a strong nasal tone and a little sobbing. "Brother, if I hadn't done that to my fourth brother, would you still treat me the same way as when we were little?" Guyu also knew that it was because of Su Yun's incident that the whole family was disappointed in her, and that was why they were so distant from her now. But it was not just because of this incident. With many details piled up, the Su family also understood the gap between themselves and the Gu family. Guyu was born to live in the Gu family. As the saying goes, if you are not from the same family, you will not marry. Even though she has lived with them in the poor Su family since she was a child, she has a sense of superiority in her bones and between her eyebrows. Sometimes, she even looked at the villagers in the same village with contempt. He still remembered the night before when he returned home. He thought Guyu hid in the room and refused to come out for dinner because she was sad about the upcoming separation from them. But he saw Guyu's bright and brilliant smile through the crack in the door. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, swinging her legs, as if she was fantasizing about something, with light and expectation in her eyes. She stood up to pack her things, but halfway through, she stuffed her clothes back into the shabby closet with a look of disgust, slammed the door shut, and then kicked the pair of intact embroidered shoes at the foot of the bed to the side. It was obvious that when she got this new pair of embroidered shoes a few days ago, she was very happy and was reluctant to wear them, treating them like a treasure. This pair of shoes was given to her by Su Jing. He used all the money he earned from copying books for others in the academy to buy her shoes. However, the pair of shoes was rejected and ruthlessly kicked aside, and his heart as the eldest brother was also broken. Su Jing was silent for a moment, then he smiled, turned to look at Guyu and said, "Miss Gu, the wind is blowing, let's go back quickly." After saying that, he got into the carriage. Guyu's bitter smile finally fell. She still didn't understand. Who hasn't made mistakes when they were young? She already knew she was wrong, so is she not worthy of forgiveness? When Su Jing returned to the dam, Su Wan and Su Yi tacitly did not ask him what he had said to Guyu, and Su Jing did not take the initiative to say anything. The three siblings stayed quietly for a while, as if they had returned to their previous life in Yangao. Every day they thought about what to eat next and how to cook the dishes to make them delicious. This time when Su Wan came, she brought some autumn and winter clothes for her eldest brother, all of which were sewn by Su's mother herself. She was concerned that her son would be surrounded by mud and sand every day, so he must wear clothes that would not stain, so she chose dark-colored fabrics. She also made the shoes herself, high boots with thick soles that were water-resistant. Su Wan also made him 2 black fox fur cloaks. It was winter, and the wind was strong in the dam, and she was afraid that he would catch a cold if he was not careful. During the past half-month, the 3 siblings were undoubtedly happy. When people are happy, the days go by quickly. Su Wan and Su Yi thought that they had stayed for so long, and it was time to leave. If they stayed here, their eldest brother would have to worry about them every day and would not be able to do their own things. So Su Wan asked Liu Yun and the others to pack up and leave Yu County the next day. It's autumn again. Su Wan is still thinking about third mission. He is afraid that his elder brother will miss her, so he doesn't plan to go back to Xiangzhou yet. Now it was approaching October, and she had to settle the business in Kyoto before the new year. The new year was not until February of next year, so she had plenty of time. However, she had been away for too long, and her family couldn't help but miss her. She had no choice but to write a letter home to tell her parents about her eldest brother. She also said in the letter that she was anxious to act as a mouthpiece, and for the sake of their eldest son's marriage, she asked them to wait at home. As for fourth brother, I have to coax him when I go back. We agreed that he would only be gone for 3 months, but now the time has passed. Forget it, forget it. I guess Chunglo's business is so good that he has no time to be distracted. Things have their priorities, and right now, eldest brother's affairs are more important. Before leaving, Su Wan specifically asked her eldest brother whether he wanted him to prepare any gifts so that she could take them to Kyoto and give them to Miss Shinsan. Su Jing thought about it and wrote a letter on several sheets of paper. He didn't bring any good things with him when he came to Xuanhe. The most valuable thing he had was a jade pendant bestowed by the emperor. Since it is a gift from the emperor, giving it to Miss Shinsan is clear enough. When Su Wan got the letter, he squeezed it carefully. Wow, it was quite thick. He didn't expect his brother to be so long-winded. Did he write down everything he wanted to say in the past year? And this jade pendant was bestowed by the emperor. It is a great honor. I will give it to third Miss Shin. I want Suwon to say, "Brother, don't love it too much." Of departure, Su Jing personally rode his horse to send Suwon and Su-yi to the official road. He was reluctant to let them go, but the conditions in Xuanhe were really harsh. Suwon had been here for half a month and felt that his skin had deteriorated. He couldn't let her continue to suffer here. Wanwan, I have a safe trip. Remember to write to me when you arrive. I know, big brother. Remember to apply the jade cream I gave you. Look at your face, it's so rough. If you don't take good care of it, third Miss Shen will dislike you. Suwon brought this up again, and Su Jing couldn't help but glare at her. During this period of time, Suwon kept forcing him to wipe this stuff. It would be embarrassing if it got out that he was a man and wiped women's things. But to be honest, her jade face cream is really useful. After using it a few times, my face feels more smooth. Su-yi was laughing secretly on the side. Brother, please don't let Wanwan down. Su Jing then glared at him. Take good care of Wanwan. If she loses a hair, I'll hold you responsible. This time Su-yi couldn't laugh anymore. He curled his lips helplessly and replied, I understand, big brother. I will take good care of Wanwan without you telling me. Su Jing nodded in satisfaction, then looked at Suwon. His originally serious and cold expression immediately became gentle. Wanwan, I can only take you so far. Be sure to pay attention to safety on the way. It's better to arrive later. If you come across an inn, stop and rest for a night. Don't tire yourself out. I understand, big brother. Don't worry. I'm not a child anymore. How can I let myself down? Suwon felt that the eldest brother could be quite nagging sometimes, just like the second brother. The same instructions were repeated over and over again. Suwon and Su Jing left Yu County with eyes full of reluctance. She opened the window and waved to him all the way, and he waved back until her brother's figure disappeared from her sight. Suwon felt quite lost, as her elder brother had always been the white moonlight in her heart. Sui saw her reluctance and comforted her. It's okay. If you miss your brother in the future, you can come and see him anytime. Fifth brother's smile still looked harmless, his eyes narrowed into slits. But only she knew how sinister he was beneath his harmless appearance. She was indeed reluctant to leave, but unfortunately there was not enough time. The Chinese New Year would be just a few months away, and she had to resolve her eldest brother's affairs before the New Year, and also open the Yuan Hall in Kyoto. In Kyoto, the floral-scented goat milk soap and hair soap will surely sell very well by then. So we should make as much money as possible now. Suwon has been making a big plan. She wants to use Yuan Hall as a shield and safe haven for their Su family, at least to ensure that the Su family members will live a safe and secure life. It took more than half a month to reach Kyoto. Since Minzhou was farther away from Kyoto than Xiangzhou, it took some time. The city gate of Kyoto is even more majestic than that of Zhongzhou. A moat surrounds this prosperous city. The 4 gates in the east, south, west, and north are all equipped with watchtowers, and the towers are full of patrolling archers. Watching from afar, in addition to the overwhelming momentum, there is more solemnity, not to mention that it is a cloudy day when entering Beijing today, and the fog is lingering around the city wall. The so-called atmosphere is just like this. The screening for entry into Kyoto was also very strict, and originally the guards were not allowed to bring weapons in, but the guard Ainin took out a token and showed it to the soldier at the city gate. As soon as the soldier saw the token, they immediately bowed respectfully and let the carriage enter the city. Although they didn't know who was sitting in the carriage, the pure gold token of Duke Zhang's mansion was enough to intimidate them. Suwon successfully entered Kyoto without even showing up. There was a curfew in Kyoto, and it was only 3 p.m. It was a foggy day with no sun. The capital was foggy, but there was still no shortage of pedestrians on the streets. Prosperous and wealthy place under the feet of the emperor. The women here wear the most fashionable clothes of the moment. There are no vendors setting up stalls on the streets. There are only physical shops. Each shop seems to be in a state of internal competition, and each one is more luxuriously decorated than the other. The buildings here are very beautiful, with jade, bricks, and tiles, and are of exquisite craftsmanship. You can hardly see any one-story buildings. All of them are three-story or above. This is equivalent to a modern super first-tier city, and Xiangzhou is at best a second-tier city. Even though Su Wan had seen the world, he still felt like a country bumpkin when he arrived in Kyoto, and everything he saw was new to him. I watched it all the way, and was amazed all the way. She could now understand why so many people were trying so hard to stay in Kyoto. Wealth and fame were truly so alluring. Not only did Su Wan look like a bumpkin entering the city, but even Su Yi, looking at the scenes before him, could not help but sigh that the people under the emperor's feet were truly extraordinary. This is Kyoto. I've only heard about how great it is before, but now I can finally see it with my own eyes. Su Yi's eyes were also full of hope. Would he be able to gain fame here in the future? The guard sent Su Wan directly to Jiang Yu's Farong cottage in Kyoto, which was where Su Jing had lived for most of the year before he came to take the exam. Since you are in Kyoto, there is no need to stay in any inn. It is naturally more comfortable to live in your own house. When Su Wan saw this name, she suddenly knew why Jiang Yu smiled when he saw the plaque for the first time after she bought the house in Xiangzhou. They have the same name. Anan went to knock on the door, and an old man with gray hair but a kind face opened the door. This should be the Yuanbo that the eldest brother mentioned. Yuanbo didn't recognize Anan when he saw him. After all, Jiang Yu had at least 800 guards under his command.
Who are you?
Yuanbo asked Anan with a wary look. Anan directly showed Jiang Yu's token. Seeing this, Yuanbo understood. Anan whispered to him for a while, and Yuanbo's expression changed from disbelief to surprise. After saying this, Yuanbo stepped out of the door, holding up the corner of his robe, and trotted towards Su Wan and Su Yi. When he came closer, he looked Su Wan from head to toe, nodded with great satisfaction, and his smile became even wider. But he looks very kind, with a slightly plump figure and a few missing teeth, which makes him quite funny. Miss Su, Mr. Su, you two have come from afar, and I'm sure your journey must be hard. Please follow me into the mansion. You're Yuanbo, right? I often hear my brother talk about you. Su Wan said with a smile. Yuanbo nodded. Yes, I am Yuanbo. Su Zhuangyuan lived here for half a year before, and I also heard him talk about how wonderful his sister was. Now I finally get to meet her. Yuanbo just heard from Anan that this was the future wife chosen by the prince. The princes are also divided into different levels. Jiang Yu is the prince of the duke's mansion, but the wife he will marry in the future can only be called the prince's wife. However, someone like the Prince of Xiang is a member of the royal family, and his wife can be called the prince's consort. Su Wan and Su Yi followed him into Farong cottage. After entering, they felt as if they had entered a Suzhou garden. Miss Su, Mr. Su, just treat this place as your own home. If you need anything, just tell me. Yuanbo was really happy. Usually, this small courtyard only had him and a few maids and servants, and it was not lively at all. Now, someone has finally come, and this person is the girl that their family's young master likes. He must treat her with all his might, right? Thank you for your help, Uncle Yuan. We have come here, and have to trouble you to take care of me. Su Wan was still polite. It's not a bother, it's not a bother. You are our future wife of the crown prince. How can it be a bother? This is what I should do. Yuanbo spoke frankly, which made Su Wan feel embarrassed. Su Yi, who was standing next to him, couldn't help but roll his eyes when he heard the words, Crown Prince's wife. If Yuanbo wasn't so old, he would have refuted it. Although Farong Cottage is a two-courtyard house, it is quite spacious. The front yard is already very large, but I didn't expect the backyard to be even bigger. Not only does it have a big pond, but there are also several hibiscus trees planted here. No wonder it is named Hibiscus Cottage. Besides, the koi fish raised in the pond are all carefully selected for blessing, and each one is very expensive. Su Wan's room is next to Jiang Yu's original master bedroom, while Su Yi lives in the house where his eldest brother used to live. The layout of the room is also exquisite and elegant. It does not have the luxuriousness of gold carvings and jade, but it reveals a noble atmosphere everywhere. Because any piece of furniture here is made of rare wood. After traveling on the road for more than half a month, Su-won really felt tired, with sore body and neck. Yuan-bo immediately ordered the kitchen to prepare food, and also specifically asked Su-won whether he wanted to eat local Kyoto cuisine, or Xiangzhou cuisine. Now that you are in Kyoto, you must try the local Kyoto cuisine. Therefore, Yuan-bo asked the kitchen staff to prepare a table of authentic Kyoto local dishes. Chili peppers were not yet widely popular in Jean State, so no matter where the food was, it tasted very light. When Su-won arrived in Kyoto, the first thing he had to do was to find a way to make an appointment with Miss Shun-san to meet her and convey her eldest brother's token to her. However, third Miss Shun was, after all, the legitimate daughter of the bachelor's mansion, and the Grand Secretary was a first-rank official. It was quite difficult for her, an unknown merchant girl, to meet third Miss Shun. If she went directly to meet him, as do Shuiling's sister. She did not want to reveal her identity when she came to Kyoto this time, so she appeared as an ordinary merchant. After all, the eldest brother is an official, and she is a direct relative. Now that people know that she is doing business, it will be detrimental to the eldest brother's future career. However, in a prominent family like the Shin family, the young ladies usually never go out of the house. Not to mention that she was a merchant's daughter and was not well received by these scholars. It was even a question whether her visiting card could be delivered to the Grand Secretary's mansion. This made Su-won very troubled, so he simply went to Yuan-bo to ask him if he knew where the third young lady of the Shin family usually liked to go. This question is asked to the right person. She first inquired whether Miss Shun-san had gotten married recently, and then asked about the places Miss Shin-san usually liked to go. When Yuan-bo heard that she was looking for the third lady of the Grand Secretary's mansion, he was puzzled. Why would Su-won want to find her? Miss, do you have anything to do with Miss Shin-san?
Su-won nodded.
Of course something happened. It was an extremely urgent matter. I haven't heard of any rumors that the third young lady of the Grand Secretary's mansion is getting married recently, but third young Miss Shin was good friends with Su Zhuangyuan before, and she even came to visit our hibiscus cottage. If you want to meet her, I can find a way to arrange a meeting for you. If she knows that it's you who wants to see her, she will definitely come. Hearing Yuan-bo's words, Su-won was a little curious as he was so sure that third Miss Shin would come to see her. Why do you think third Miss Shin will definitely be willing to see me? Speaking of this, Yuan-bo smiled and explained, You don't know this girl, right? When Su Zhuangyuan lived with us, he had always been in contact with Miss Shin-san. The two of them had always regarded each other as close friends, often reciting poems and writing essays together, and felt that they had met too late. I can see that Miss Shin-san is interested in our Su Zhuangyuan. There was a rumor in Kyoto that Miss Shin-san was to be betrothed to the Prince of Xiang. This was already known to everyone, but for some reason, there was no news. The Prince of Xiang turned to marry the daughter of the Minister of Rights. Now the two are about to get married. Wasn't Su Zhuangyuan transferred to Xuanhe du Shuiling? The two have not seen each other since then. I don't know what they said to each other. I heard that she fell seriously ill in the winter of last year. She has always said that she is not in good health. Now she rarely shows up in public. If you want to see her, you really have to spend some time. After hearing what Yuan-bo said, Su-won probably understood. This third Miss Shin really has feelings for the eldest brother. Although her engagement with the Prince of Xiang did not go through, the rumor of marriage between the royal nobles and the high-ranking officials is definitely not an empty talk. It concerns the reputation of the two families, so it must have been discussed seriously. Yuan-bo, I didn't intend to show up as the sister of the top scholar when I came to Kyoto. Now she rarely shows up in public. If you want to see her, you really have to spend some time. I can only trouble you to find a way to arrange a meeting for me. Su-won was unfamiliar with the place and didn't know where to start. She couldn't even find the Grand Secretary's mansion. Yuan-bo probably guessed that Su-won came here this time because of the matter of Su Jing and third mission. Su Zhuangyuan had lived here for half a year. He was gentle, polite, and thoughtful. They also had feelings for each other, so Yuan-bo was naturally happy to help. Now it was their future crown prince's wife who spoke again. For the sake of their crown prince, This old servant of his would go through fire and water without hesitation. Don't worry, young lady. I will take care of this matter. Please wait patiently. When we get to Kyoto, you can have fun and eat well. If you need anything, just tell me. If I have something, you can take it. If I don't have it, I will try my best to find it for you. Now that Suwon is here, she is like the ancestor, and everything must be based on her happiness and comfort. Yuanbo, you are too polite, but I still want to thank you for running around for me. Suwon smiled sincerely, with deep dimples, and Yuanbo finally understood why their young master was being held in such a position. Just this smile is so contagious that people will never forget it, as if they have fallen into a honey pot. Well, their young master has suffered a lot since he was young and seen a lot of dirty things, so he needs such a pure and clear person to influence him. It's not hard, it's not hard. Your business is our prince's business, and the prince's business is my business. It's what I, an old servant, should do. Zhongyu has never allowed Yuanbo to call himself a servant in front of him. He regards him as an elder, and Yuanbo has always kept this in mind for many years. But even so, he still knows who he is. After dinner that night, the maid in the yard prepared hot water for Suwon to take a bath. This hot water was actually mixed with milk and sprinkled with flower petals. Suwon has never taken a milk petal bath, so she must enjoy it today. After days of travel and body aches, I felt healed after soaking in this milk bath. Yuanbo also has to wait for the right time to meet with Miss Shin-san, so Suwon has to wait patiently for the time being. The next day, Suwon decided to go strolling around the streets of Kyoto with his fifth brother to experience the prosperity of the capital. As for business matters, let's put it off for a few days. It won't be too late after resolving my brother's issues. There is still enough time. After Suwon went out, she started shopping. The skirts in Kyoto are so beautiful, especially since winter is about to come. Those winter-style skirts are dazzling. Once Suwon decided to go shopping, it would be a waste of time and money. Su-yi and Luiying couldn't even carry the bags. She usually just buys some clothes and stuff. As for jewelry, she has several big boxes of it at home. She doesn't like to wear too many of them, and she can't wear them all. So now when she sees those sparkling jewelry, she is not attracted at all. Of course, when you go out to play, in addition to shopping, you also have to eat. From East Street to West Street, you have to try all the special snacks in Kyoto. You can't go back with an empty stomach. After being out for a day and spending several hundred taels of silver, Suwon returned to Furong Cottage contentedly. Yuanbo hired someone to keep an eye on Miss Shin, and would only have a chance when the personal maidservant of Miss Shin-san went out of the house to make purchases. Since she had to hide it from the Grand Secretary, she could only report it directly to the maidservant beside her. Yuanbo also found out some new news. Miss Shin has been ill for more than a year, and her condition has not improved. She stays at home every day, so rumors spread in the Beijing circle that Miss Shin may have an incurable disease, which is why no one has come to propose marriage to her even though she is already 17 years old. Logically speaking, the Grand Secretary's mansion is a noble family, and any girl of marriageable age in the family, even a concubine's daughter, would be a popular commodity and could become someone's principal wife. But there were rumors that third Miss Shin had contracted a serious disease, and now no one dared to get close to her. Suwon and Su-yi waited for 3 days in a row, but received no news. The maidservant accompanying the third miss did not leave the house. There was no need to rush, so Suwon simply focused on his own business. So, I went to the dental clinic in Kyoto to see the workshop. This dental clinic in Kyoto was also large, like a very professional agency. The people inside were very busy, and I could hear the sound of abacus clacking in the yard. She came in, someone greeted her and offered her tea and snacks. Suwon wanted to see the workshop. She was received by a woman at the dental shop. After looking through the cloth drawings, she found that Kyoto is a super first-tier city, and the housing prices are really expensive. A small workshop of 200 square meters in the city center can be sold for more than 3,000 taels, which is enough to buy a nice house in Xiangzhou.
Suwon wanted a bigger workshop.
200 square meters would be more than enough. The workers would have to live in it, and there would also have to be a warehouse. The yard had to be big enough, otherwise it would be difficult to dry the soap. Or, like in Zhengzhou, you can just buy a farm outside the city to use as a workshop. The place is big enough. This is what Suwon thought and acted accordingly. She told the people at the dental office directly that she wanted to see the manor in the suburbs. On the way into Beijing, we saw large tracts of flower fields in the suburbs of Beijing, so the supply of flowers would definitely not be a problem. There are so many cosmetic shops in Kyoto, and their raw materials are all flowers, so there is no shortage of farmers growing flowers in the suburbs of Beijing. However, the manors in the suburbs of Beijing are really expensive, and each one costs tens of thousands of taels. The people from the dental clinic took them out of the suburbs of Beijing to see the farms. The farms here were different from those in Zhengzhou. They were all in one place. Instead, it is a separate household located alone in a certain area. I looked at several and felt that they were all similar. The most important thing was the location. The closer the place was, the more expensive it was, and the farther the place was, the cheaper it was. In one day, you have to visit it over several days, and the price of each one is not cheap. The main thing is that there are 2 Kamashu around Kyoto, which are not far away. It only takes 3 or 4 days, or 4 or 5 days to go back and forth. The workshop is located in the suburbs of Kyoto. Once the market is opened, the demand for orders will definitely be huge. Her goat milk soap must be sold at a high price, and in Kyoto, it is no problem to double the price, as there are many people willing to buy it. After looking at villas for 2 days in a row, Suwon was still hesitant. There were a few that he liked, but he still needed to think carefully about which one to choose. She discussed with Su-yi that the manor was about the same size anyway, and several courtyards could be used. The land outside the manor could also be requisitioned. There were mountains and water, and living was convenient. However, the price was beyond the budget, and it would cost between 12,000 and 15,000 taels to buy it. After discussing for a long time, they finally decided to draw lots. Suwon drew a manor 20 miles away from Kyoto, the price of which was 13,000 taels, and chose neutrality. By then I have to look at the shop of Yuan Hall, which will cost another sum of money, and I have to renovate it and hire people. I brought more than 30,000 taels of silver notes with me. I didn't spend much in Jeju and Banja before, and I spent about 5,000 or 6,000 taels in total. Now that I'm in Kyoto, it feels like it's not enough. Therefore, Yuantang's shop can only be rented for the time being and will be bought after it becomes profitable. She has worked so hard for so long, but her assets are nothing compared to Kyoto. It's like you worked hard to save 10 million in a modern second-tier city, but when you go to the capital, you can only afford a 2-bedroom apartment in a slightly better location. Fortunately, I brought a lot of money with me, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do anything. After deciding, he went directly to the brokerage firm to buy the farm. He would not lose money if he bought the property, as it was a real estate asset. The house in Kyoto would not lose much even if he resold it. Finally, on the 7th day after arriving in Kyoto, there was news from Yuan Bo. His people had finally tracked down Lur, the head maidservant beside 3rd Miss Shin. Lur grew up with Miss Shin-san, and she knows everything about her young lady's thoughts. Therefore, when Yuan Bo's people mentioned Su Jing, her eyes lit up. When she heard that Su Jing's sister wanted to meet her young lady, she was also very excited. She didn't buy anything and immediately turned back to the mansion to inform her young lady. Then she made an appointment so that Yuan Bo's people could go back and inform Suwon. Yuan Bo told Suwon that Miss Shin-san had invited her to take a boat trip on Lake Taihu tomorrow morning. After hearing this, Suwon and Su-yi were finally relieved. As long as they could make an appointment with the person, it would be fine. They were just worried that they wouldn't be able to make the appointment and then not be able to deliver the things. Looking at 3rd Miss Shun's attitude, Suwon could also conclude that she did have feelings for her eldest brother. Otherwise, she wouldn't be in such a hurry to make an appointment to meet. If it wasn't getting late today, she would probably come to see Suwon right away. Suwon was so excited that he was about to meet his future sister-in-law that he fell asleep very late. She has already discussed it with her 5th brother. Tomorrow she can just bring Lu Yun and Lu Ying with her to the appointment. After all, 3rd Miss Shun is a girl of the boudoir and Kyoto is the capital where people follow these rules the most. It was not appropriate for Su-yi to go with them. Besides, if they were seen by Miss Shin's acquaintances, it would be bad if some unpleasant rumors spread. For the sake of his future sister-in-law's reputation, Suwon had to be extremely careful and cautious, no matter what. Anyway, she will have to stay in Kyoto for at least 2 months in the future. Once her feelings are understood and she personally admits her feelings for her eldest brother, they will have many opportunities to meet after they get to know each other better. Suwon was also thinking that he would ask his fifth brother to draw 2 portraits of his future sister-in-law, send one to his eldest brother who is far away in Yu County to ease his homesickness, and bring the other one back to show his parents to make them happy. Suwon got up the next day, dressed up carefully, and put on new clothes. However, everything should be just right, not bright or eye-catching. The simpler and fresher, the better. Of course, Suwon would look best with some red elements on her body. I don't know if God was helping me today. The weather in Kyoto was already a bit cold in mid-October, and I had to wear a thin cloak when going out. But this morning the sun came out, which was a rare occurrence. Shin Qingli had been waiting on the boat for a long time. She rented a boat on Taihu Lake and arranged for her personal maid Lure to wait for Suwon at the Taihu Pier. The person who brought Suwon here was also the servant who had communicated with him yesterday. It was he who found Lure to deliver the message. Lure recognized the boy from a distance, and also saw Suwon following behind him. They came closer. Lure came forward to greet them. "Is that Miss Su?" Suwon also guessed that this was Miss Shin-san's maid. She smiled and nodded. "It's me." Upon hearing this, Lure started to laugh and bowed, unable to hide her joy. "Miss Su, please follow me aboard. My mistress has been waiting for you for a long time." Suwon sent the servant to wait at the dock, and she took Lu Yun and Lu Ying on the boat. The cruise ships in Kyoto are so beautifully built that once you get on one, it feels like you've returned to another home. Shin Qingli was waiting on the boat, about to meet Su Jing's sister. To be honest, she was quite nervous and paced back and forth. She didn't stop until she heard footsteps on the deck. She adjusted her dress and hair and turned her back to the door. Miss Su is here." As Lure's voice sounded, Shin Qingli turned around. She was wearing a pink and white dress, with only a hairpin of the same color on her head, dotted with a few pearl flowers, looking fresh and elegant. When she looked back, the tassel pendant on the hairpin swayed gently. As soon as Suwon saw Miss Shin-san, he was struck by her temperament. That comes to your face is like the spring water in a small town in the south of the Yangtze River. When you gently touch it with your hand, you will feel that the water seems to be as warm as hot spring water. It is said that her cheeks are as red as fresh lychee, her nose is as smooth as goose fat. She is gentle and silent, very endearing to look at, and very memorable to see. Is worthy of being the daughter of a cabinet minister of the current dynasty. Just standing there, her every frown and smile is full of the demeanor of a noble person, and her temperament is extraordinary. When Suwon approached her, he kept thinking that third Miss Shin looked sweet and soft, and must be easy to hug. She also knew in an instant why her eldest brother was so infatuated with her. Only a woman like this could stand shoulder to shoulder with her eldest brother. The two of them standing together would be a match made in heaven. No one could be more suitable than the two of them. Suwon had not even spoken to his future sister-in-law, but he had already spoken so highly of her. "Xiongzhou Suwon, nice to meet Miss Shin-san." Suwon is still very polite and knows the rules. Shin Qingli quickly held her hand and said softly, "Miss Su, there's no need to be so polite. Please sit down and have some tea." Oh my God, Miss Shin's voice is so nice, just like her, like a passing breeze. Not to mention that big brother couldn't bear it. She couldn't bear it either. "Miss Shin-san, if you don't mind, I'll call you Sister Shin. And don't call me Miss Su. Just call me Wan Wan." When Suwon is facing the person she likes, she is very familiar with him. Her humble appearance makes Shin Qingli feel less restrained. "Of course, I don't mind. I'm very happy that you are willing to call me sister." Shin Qingchu blushed slightly after just a few words. This is a typical lady from a noble family. "Come, let me order some tea for you." This is the way we treat guests in Kyoto. When a distinguished guest comes, we need to personally order a cup of tea to show our welcome. Shen Qingli spoke in a calm and steady tone, with a slight smile always on her face. Moreover, her hands are well-maintained, slender, white and tender, with her nails polished into an oval shape, and they look fragrant everywhere. Thank you, Sister Shen. Suwon watched her quietly as she ordered a cup of tea. The whole process took a cup of tea, and each step was neither hurried nor slow. Finally, she placed a lotus flower on the tea foam, and the cup of tea was completed. Suwon thought about himself and felt that he couldn't even make tea foam, let alone flowers. Sister Wanwan, come and try it. Shin Qingchu pushed the tea in front of her. Suwon picked it up and took a sip, and the fragrance of the tea instantly filled his entire mouth. She just thought it was wonderful. The ancients were not deceiving her. The culture passed down by our ancestors was indeed good. It tastes good. Sister Shin's cooking skills are good. Shin Qingli covered her mouth with a handkerchief and laughed. Sister Wanwan, thank you for your compliment. After drinking tea, Suwon had to get down to business. She waved her hand, and Luiying brought the things over. The letter and the jade pendant were both put in a box. Suwon placed the box in front of Shin Qingli and said with a smile, Sister Shin, I asked you to meet today because I am here to deliver a token of love on behalf of my eldest brother. He asked me to tell you that he knows your feelings. There is a letter inside that contains what he wants to say to you. Suwon's words were simple and obscure, but they were enough to make Shin Qingli blush with embarrassment. She touched her almost cooked face with a handkerchief uncomfortably, and looking at the box, she was filled with joy and wished she could open it and take a look right now. But Suwon was still here, and she couldn't lose her composure, otherwise people would think she was not reserved. But why would Suwon care about these? She said bluntly, Sister Shin, please open it and see what my elder brother gave you. She pretended to be curious and asked even though she knew the answer. Giving Shin Qingli a step, she went down. She opened the box and saw a piece of topaz pressing down a letter. From Miss Shin-san. The eldest brother was very polite and did not call her by her maiden name. After all, the two of them had not settled anything yet, so they should use honorifics. Seeing his handwriting, Shin Qingchu couldn't help but feel moved and couldn't suppress the smile on his lips. Shin Qingli took out the jade pendant, placed it in the palm of her hand, and rubbed it carefully. Su Jing had changed the way the jade pendant was tied, using a red rope to weave a concentric knot. Suwon began to assist appropriately. Big brother actually gave this jade pendant to Sister Shin? This is the topaz bestowed by the emperor. Big brother cherishes it very much and wears it every day. He is quite clever. He actually took the red string and made a love knot to give to Sister Shin. It shows how much he values Sister Shin. When Shin Qingqing heard this, her heart beat faster and her ears turned red, but her face was filled with a sweet smile. Su Jing gave her such an important thing, which was enough to express his appreciation for her. Although she did not respond to Suwon's words, her reaction said it all. Afterwards, Shin Qingli opened the envelope and began to read Su Jing's letter carefully. Suwon didn't know what was written, so it was not convenient to ask. These were all love words between the couple. Taking advantage of this gap, Suwon drank tea and ate snacks, waiting quietly for her to finish reading. But why are my eyes turning red just by looking at this? Suwon didn't dare to ask and could only watch from the side. After reading it, Shin Qingli folded the letter again, put it back into the envelope, and put it back into the box. She touched the jade pendant carefully, put it back into the box, and locked it. Her maid Lur wanted to take the box away, but was stopped by Shin Qingli. She put one hand on the box, shook her head at Lur, and motioned her to leave. Sister Shin, now you know how much my eldest brother loves you. If you have anything to say to him, you might as well write it down, and I will send it to him for you. Shin Qingli smiled and nodded, then told Lur to get paper, pen, and envelope. The boat was floating quietly on the lake, and the sun was shining brightly outside. There was silence for another period of time until Shin Qingli finished writing the letter, put it away, and then handed it to Suwon with a blushing face. It says, from Su Lang himself. Oh my, this is Su Lang? Suwon looked as if he had been shocked. Don't worry, Sister Shin, I won't peek. She deliberately joked. When Shun Qingli heard this, she started laughing too, feeling a little embarrassed because she knew she was joking. Su-won turned around and gave the letter to Luyin, asking her to pack it and find someone to send it back to County after getting off the boat. For our sake, I've troubled you to come all the way to Kyoto. You must be very tired, right? Shun Qingli thought that Su-won came to Kyoto specifically for this matter. Su-won didn't treat her as an outsider and simply admitted generously, not just for this matter. I came to Kyoto, on the one hand to deliver a token of love for my eldest brother, and on the other hand to do business. I may have to stay in Kyoto for the next 2 months and go back before the new year. Sister Shun, if you feel bored, you can come to Furong Cottage to play with me at any time. My 5th brother is also coming with us this time, but this is the first time I meet you, so I didn't let him come with me for fear of being abrupt. Su-won also gave Shun Qingli an extraordinary first impression. This girl exuded a bright aura all over her body. It should be said that she herself was a bright person. Beautiful, energetic, smart, fresh, and refined. All these can be used to describe Su-won. Especially when she smiles. She is so sweet that makes people want to take the initiative to get close to her. The most important thing is that Su-won is not like the noble ladies in Kyoto who like to put on airs wherever they go. She does not have a condescending attitude. She is very approachable, yet thoughtful and polite. The fact that she did not bring her 5th brother with her this time shows that she has seriously considered herself. I've heard Su-ling talk about you often in the past. He said you're good at business, quirky, and can always think of many interesting things. It's because of you that he has the confidence to embark on this journey to Beijing for the exam. Shun Qingli remembered that when Su Jing talked about his sister, he was always beaming with joy, his expression full of pride. When Su-won heard this, she suddenly had an idea. She really wanted to know how her elder brother saw her. So I asked Shun Qingli, Sister Shun, what did my elder brother say about me in front of you? Seeing how curious she was, Shun Qingli naturally told her everything she knew. He said that he had a very good sister, the best sister in the world, who always silently tolerated the whole family and tried her best to make the family live better and go further. He told me about your situation, and I found it incredible when I heard it. But I can see that he cares about you as his sister. He said that you are the guiding light in his life. Whenever he talks about you, his tone is full of pride. He said that you are so good at making money, so sensible, and take care of the feelings of every brother in the family. You even repay evil with kindness, and never make him worry about anything. He said that he worked hard to study not only for himself, for his parents, but also to live up to your expectations of him. He said that he must work harder and climb up. Even if you get married in the future, he can be your confidence. What Shun Qingli said, Su-won felt a little embarrassed. She covered her face with her hands, but her heart was filled with joy. It turns out that in the eldest brother's heart, she is so good and deserves the best in the world. It seems that everything she did was worth it. Oh, how can I be as good as my elder brother says? In fact, he is also my pride. In the future, when I go out, no matter who I meet, I can proudly tell him that my elder brother is the top scholar and a great contributor to flood control. Doesn't it give me goosebumps just by listening to him? Shun Qingli nodded, and she did feel goosebumps all over her body. Su Jing is really good. He can compete with the sun and the moon. I really envy the relationship between you two siblings. Although Shun Qingli came from a good family, disputes were inevitable in her harem. If she hadn't been a legitimate daughter, she would have been bullied to death. There are 3 daughters in her family, and she is the only legitimate one. Her 2 concubine sisters are both married. Although they married into a low position and became the legitimate wife, there are always people who use the fact that they are concubines to suppress them. And then there are those brothers. Her own biological brother is working far away in another place, and her 2 half-brothers have never been close to her. They are more like enemies, so she envies Su-won and Su Jing for having such a good relationship. Su-won could tell that she was really envious, so she took her hand and said solemnly, Sister Shun, I'm sorry to wrong you, but you have to wait patiently for my eldest brother. When he becomes successful in the future, he will allow you to wear a phoenix crown and a red robe, and marry you with a sedan chair carried by 8 people. In addition, our Su family's ancestral precepts stipulate that you can only marry a wife in this life and not take concubines. If you marry my eldest brother in the future, you'll be together for life, and he will never let you down. If he dares to bully you, don't say that I won't agree. Even my parents will break one of his legs. This is not just empty talk. Su Jing can definitely do it, and Su's father did say that no matter how successful the men of their Su family become, their families are not allowed to be messy, and they are only allowed to marry wives, not concubines. Shin Qingli is a typical girl in the boudoir. A promise like, to be together for life, is very important to her. She was born and raised in Kyoto, and was used to seeing men having 3 wives and 4 concubines. Even a gentleman with a good reputation would eventually have to take a concubine. So, she had never heard of anyone making such a promise to their future wife. But now, Su Jing said so in the letter, and even Su Wan said so. In fact, it was good that he was willing to make such a promise to herself. At least she could still hear it in this life, which was much better than others. Even though her father and mother had such a good relationship, in the end her father still married 2 concubines and let them have children. So, in her life, Shin Qingli never expected her future husband to be with her forever. If Su Jing can do his best, even if he can't, she won't blame him. Sister Wanwan, I am willing to wait for him. I thought I was just wishful thinking, but now it seems that all the grievances I suffered are worth it. Shin Qingli said, holding her hand. After getting to know Su Wan, he found out that the rumor that 3rd Miss Shen was ill last winter was not a serious illness at all, but she just caught a cold. At that time, the Prince of Xiang's mansion was already preparing to propose marriage to her family, so she threatened to commit suicide, forcing her mother and father to play along with her and refused to marry the Prince of Xiang. She told the Grand Secretary directly that she already had a lover and if he forced her to get married, she would kill herself. She was the only unmarried daughter in the family and also the only legitimate daughter, so the Grand Secretary loved Shin Qingli very much. Seeing his daughter threatening to commit suicide, he had no choice. The wife of the Grand Secretary found an opportunity to ask her daughter who she liked. After asking her many times, she found out that her daughter liked the top scholar Su Jing. Moreover, there was no commitment between the two of them. It was all the daughter's wishful thinking. This put Mrs. Shan in a dilemma. Su Jing was indeed handsome and talented, and would be a good choice as her husband. Her family did not care about family background, so having potential was also good. However, after Su Jing passed the high school entrance examination, he was transferred to Xuanhe du Shuiling, which was a tough job. He might not be able to return to the capital for 3 to 5 years. My daughter is already at the age to get married. If she delays for another 2 years, she will become an old spinster, and she will be laughed at if this gets out. However, it would be fine if they could wait until then, but if it was one-sided, and they found out in the end that Su Zhuangyuan had already married during this period, they couldn't ask their daughter to be someone else's mistress, right? Mrs. Shen tried to persuade Shin Qingli in every possible way, but still failed. In desperation, she had to discuss it with the Grand Secretary. When the Grand Secretary heard that it was Su Jing, he fell silent. He had taken a liking to Su Jing from the beginning, and wanted him to be his son-in-law. He understood his character and knew that he was a potential stalk, so he allowed his daughter to interact with him. Unexpectedly, this kid won the top spot in the imperial examination with his essay on water control and was appreciated by the emperor. Even he had to admire his literary talent. But Rang was later appointed as Du Shuiling and transferred to a harsh place like Xuanhe. He couldn't just watch his daughter suffer with him there, right? Although the Grand Secretary had many students all over the world, as a parent, he also had selfish motives. As the saying goes, a parent who loves his child will plan for him long-term. It would be fine if Su Jing was gone for 2 or 3 years, but what if it was 4 or 5 years? What about 7 or 8 years? Policy paper is well written. It is still difficult to implement. Otherwise, floods in the Xian River have been so rampant throughout history, and so many capable people have failed to overcome it. It would not be easy to enjoy this great achievement, and he did not dare to gamble with his daughter's life. Unfortunately, Fate played a trick on him, and his silly daughter fell into it. After much deliberation, the Grand Secretary finally decided to follow his daughter's wishes and give her 2 years. If she couldn't figure it out, he would find a way then. The daughter of the Grand Secretary would not really be unable to get married. Even if she had to marry a lower-class woman, she would not be wronged as long as he had the Grand Secretary's mansion. But if she thought it through and found another good husband, that would be great. He couldn't bear to let her go anyway, so it would be better if she stayed for 2 more years. Therefore, the Grand Secretary's mansion spread the word to the outside world that third Miss Shen was bedridden and frail, so she could only stay in the boudoir, and there was no talk of marriage for the time being. In the feudal and superstitious ancient times, the only important thing for a woman to do after marrying into her husband's family was to take care of her husband and children and continue the family line. A frail daughter-in-law would have difficulty giving birth, so because of this excuse, many people who wanted to propose marriage were turned away. When Suwon learned about the efforts Shen Qingli had made for her elder brother, he was almost moved to death. She was willing to sacrifice herself and even ruin her reputation just to wait for her elder brother. She envied this kind of two-way love. Originally, the Grand Secretary thought that she couldn't stay at home all day and not go anywhere. He didn't expect that his daughter was really capable of that and never went out of the house. Sister Shen, I am sorry to have wronged you. Don't worry, my brother will be with me for at most 2 years and will definitely be able to return to Kyoto. Suwon also knew that 2 years was still too much for Shen Qingli, but sometimes love is selfish, so this couldn't be considered an empty promise, right? With eldest brother's ability, he can definitely do it. As long as Su Lang doesn't let me down, I will never let him down. I will wait no matter how long it takes. Shen Qingli's eyes were firm. In the future, I must make it up to Sister Shen. This time, Suwon didn't just bring a token of her elder brother's love. She also brought gifts of her own. She brought 2 bottles of ice cream and 2 boxes of goat milk soap. Sister Shen, this Ice Skin Jade Bone Cream is the most popular and fashionable skincare product in my hometown of Xiangzhou. I heard that it is very effective and can make the skin lastingly white, tender, and smooth. It is winter in Kyoto, and the weather is cold and dry. You can definitely use it. There are also these goat milk soaps, which are all made at home. I don't know what scent you like, so I brought some of various scents. These are used for bathing. After washing, your body smells good. These can be used for hair washing, which is much better than soap nuts and aloe vera. Shen Qingli heard from Su Jing that the goat milk soap made by his sister was very useful. Since Suwon gave it to her, she must accept it generously. Thank you, Sister Wanwan, for thinking of me in everything. I also brought you a gift, but I don't know what you like, and I prepared in a hurry to see you.
Please don't despise me.
Shen Qingli didn't have much time to prepare gifts. She was anxious to know why Suwon came to see her, so she hurriedly made an appointment to meet him. She gave Suwon a pair of jade bracelets made of mutton fat jade. This was a reward from the Queen Mother when she came of age. The bracelets were very significant and sincere, expressing her respect and welcome for Suwon. Most about a gift is the thought behind it. This was a gift from the Queen Mother, and it was also a gift for the 15-year-old girl. It was also very precious to Shen Qingli. But the fact that she was willing to give it to Suwon showed that she really liked Su Jing, so she loved him and cared about his family members as well. I didn't know that the 5th young master was coming with you, so I didn't prepare a gift for him. I will make it up to him when we meet again in the future. Shen Qingli really didn't know that Su Jing's 5th brother was also coming, so she didn't prepare any gifts and felt a little ashamed. It's okay, Sister Shen, you don't have to worry about him. Su, you would not care about these trivial matters.
No way.
I'll make it up to you next time we meet. I have to follow the proper etiquette. They are all Su Jing's brothers and sisters, so they must be treated equally when they meet for the first time. Suwon smiled and did not refute. The 2 girls were a little reserved when they first met, but now they seem much more natural. Suwon felt that his eldest brother's future wife had to be someone like Sister Shen, who was well-educated, sensible, and kind-hearted. Such a woman could help him manage the backyard, weigh the human relationships and prevent him from offending people invisibly, and balance family relationships, and handle the relationships with the elders, sisters-in-law, and aunts-in-law in the family so that a truly harmonious family would bring prosperity. Unlike Xiao Xiyun in the original novel, who is suspicious, jealous, aggressive, and rude, can't do anything well, and offends people everywhere. How important is it to have an emotionally stable and capable woman behind a successful man? Only a relationship like this can last long, go further, and fly higher. The two girls were talking on the cruise ship. Suwon's personality was easy to get along with, and she could liven up the atmosphere. Even Shun Qingli, who is slow to warm up, could be brought into the atmosphere by her. One is lively and bright, the other is quiet and introverted. They get along well with each other and complement each other perfectly. The more Suwon looked at her, the more she liked her future sister-in-law, and Shin Qingli also liked her future sister-in-law, Suwon, more and more. At noon, meals were prepared on the boat. Suwon invited Shin Qingli that next time they came to Farong Cottage, she would cook delicious meals for her and recommend her fourth brother's specialties. Anyway, when I go out, I'm afraid that the food outside will be too bland and I'll miss the food at home, so I bring a lot of chili powder and soy sauce. Shin Qingli agreed. When she returned, she would tell her parents that she and Su Lang had decided to spend their lives together. Then she would be able to come and go freely with Suwon. Suwon is a girl, and no one would say anything if the two of them played together. Besides, it was right to tell her parents so that they could feel at ease. In the afternoon, Shun Qingli played the pipa for Suwon, and she asked Suwon if there was any musical instrument he was good at. Suwon only knew how to play the guzheng, and it was Jiangyu who taught her a few songs. But she was busy with business every day, and after Jiangyu went to the front line, she hardly played it anymore, mainly because she had no master to teach her. She usually carried that plane with her wherever she went, but she didn't bring it on board today, so she couldn't make a fool of herself. Shin Qingli originally thought that if she didn't get along with Suwon, she could still play the pipa to ease the awkwardness, so she brought the pipa with her. Nowadays, the pipa is not used to relieve embarrassment, but to add to the fun. Wanwan, I know a thing or two about the zheng. If you don't mind, I can teach you next time. Shin Qingli is worthy of being a lady from a famous family. She is proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, painting, poetry, and songs. She can play several musical instruments. She is at the national level in pipa and is also proficient in guzheng and flute. Since Shun Qingli said so, Suwon would certainly not refuse. She would love nothing more than to do so. Thank you, Sister Shin, but I'm stupid, so don't let me make you angry when the time comes. No, I will be very gentle. Shin Qingli smiled with her hands covering her lips, her eyes full of light. The two of them played on the boat for a day and had a great time. In the evening, when Suwon came back, he was in a good mood and humming a song. He found Su-yi and reported the progress of the task to him. Fifth brother, today I have successfully completed the task assigned by the eldest brother. Congratulations, how about a couple of drinks tonight? Suwon winked at Su-yi and stretched out her hand. Su-yi understood instantly and clapped her hand. This is their unique code and unspoken little secret, and Suyin doesn't even know it. Okay, I'll listen to you and have a few drinks. Later, the food was ready in the kitchen and sent over. Yuan Bo took out Jiangyu's treasured peach blossom wine for them to drink. Suwon couldn't drink, and she started to get drunk after a few drinks. After getting drunk, she felt hallucinations in front of her eyes, and Jiangyu's face was a little lingering in her mind. He was laughing there, and Suwon was also drunk with his laughter. Hee. It's really beautiful. She held her chin with her hand, and Su-yi was sitting opposite her. When she said this, Su-yi thought she was praising herself, and her face turned red. After drinking a few more glasses, Suwon lay down on the table. Su-yi could only let Luyan take her back to her room. He wanted to help support him, but Luyan just picked him up sideways. He was so strong. Su-yi was worried and followed behind. He only heard Suwon mumbling something. He couldn't hear clearly, so he moved closer to listen. It turned out that Suwon was calling Jiangyu. Su-yi heard this name intermittently and felt angry and helpless. It turns out they weren't talking about him, but Jiangyu. Although he was helpless, Su Yi still couldn't bear to say anything to Su Wan. Jiang Yu is destined to appear in Su Wan's dream tonight. On the border battlefield, inside the tent, Su Chun and Jiang Yu were applying medicine to each other. Jiang Yu's arm was injured and Su Chun's abdomen was cut. But they're just skin injuries, not particularly serious. After applying medicine, I just need to rest for a few days. Now, the two of them have fought bravely on the battlefield, and their positions have been promoted several times. They can lead thousands of soldiers under their command. Su Chen's wound had been bandaged. He helped Jiang Yu apply medicine and bandage his wound. Looking at the crisscrossing scars on his body, he frowned. You have no idea where to cut. You have so many wounds and scars. It looks scary. Even Su Chen felt horrified. He didn't know how many injuries Jiang Yu had suffered along the way. Jiang Yu didn't think it was a big deal. He even joked, "Scars are the badge of manliness. These are proof that I am lucky." He is indeed lucky. There is not a single piece of healthy skin on his body left. Su Chen shook his head. "Captain Jiang, Captain Su, are you in there?" A male voice was heard outside the tent, and it was obviously Morong Huai. This kid was quite surprising. He didn't seem to be as dissolute and good-for-nothing as the legend said. On the contrary, on the battlefield, although he was not good at martial arts, he was proficient in the tactics of the army and was good at deploying troops. He offered several strategies to the commander-in-chief and helped win several beautiful victories, which made people take notice of him. Without waiting for the two to say anything, he opened the tent and walked in, holding many bottles and jars in his hands. "I heard that you were injured. I have some excellent medicine here. Feel free to use it. Don't be polite. My mother prepared it for me when I came here. I won't be able to use it anyway." Morong Huai's strength lies in his strategies, so he only offers advice from the rear and does not have to go to the battlefield. The commander did not dare to take his life lightly. He was a prince, and his mother was a favorite concubine. He did not know martial arts, so wouldn't he be courting death if he went? But are you kidding me? Do you think Jiang Yu would be short of these good things? The last thing he lacks is these good medicines. However, he is the seventh prince after all, and they both have to be a little responsible. Moreover, Morong Huai seemed to be sincere towards the two of them and wanted to make friends with them. Morong Huai began to pester the two of them, as if it had started from a great victory half a year ago. He was in the rear, standing next to the commander-in-chief to support the team, and then witnessed with his own eyes Jiang Yu and Su Chen killing all around on the battlefield. Jiang Yu and Su Chen each took the head of a young general of the enemy, which greatly boosted the morale of the army. The commander-in-chief directly made the two men captains, entered the commander-in-chief's camp, and gave them their own tents. Morong Huai now directly follows the military advisor and holds a civilian position in the army, but he is also quite impressive. For Morong Sheng, his martial arts skills were not low either, and he had some prestige on the battlefield. He was previously a captain and general, and recently he was promoted to cavalry captain, making him the leader of the cavalry battalion. The two princes competed openly and secretly, both trying to win over Jiang Yu and Su Chen to their own side. Jiang Yu and Su Chen are so skilled in martial arts that Morong Huai particularly admires them. "Thank you, seventh prince." Jiang Yu took it with both hands. "What are you thanking me for?"
Don't be so polite.
"We are all comrades in arms." Morong Huai smiled brightly. To be honest, Jiang Yu was inexplicably not resistant to Morong Huai. Compared to Morong Sheng, he seemed quite genuine, not pretentious, and more approachable. As the three were talking, Morong Sheng also arrived, bringing some medicine for wounds. Seeing that the tent was open, he walked straight in. He had a smile on his face, but when he came in and saw Morong Huai was there too, he immediately put away his smile. Morong Huai turned around and saw that it was him, and immediately started to speak in a sarcastic tone. "Hey, fifth brother, are you here to deliver medicine to the two captains? But you are late. I have already delivered it." Seeing Morong Huai's smug look, Morong Sheng was not flustered and slowly placed the medicine on the table. It's a thoughtful gesture, regardless of who comes first. "Thank you for your concern, Your Highness the Fifth Prince." Jiang Yu and Jiang Chen bowed to him. They were not so polite to either of them towards Moronghuai, but the more polite they were, the more distant they felt. Jiang Yu felt that he was very vulgar. He had no feelings for Morongsheng. Originally, he neither disliked nor liked him, but because his Wanwan seemed to be quite resistant to him, he also started to resist him. Just followed Jiang Yu. He naturally wouldn't get involved with people he didn't like dealing with. Morongsheng felt like a clown here, so he went back after saying a few words. Moronghuai won the game and felt extremely comfortable. However, he also knew that he could not disturb the two patients' rest, so he left not long after. After the two princes left, Su Qin sighed helplessly. It seems that your status as the prince of the Duke of Jiang is really popular, and it has also brought me some glory. Jiang Yu heard this, raised his eyebrows and smiled. How do you know that it's not because of your outstanding ability that they are extending an olive branch to you? That may be part of the reason, Su Qin said proudly. He had been with Jiang Yu for so long that he became cocky. However, Su Qin reached his current position by himself, and his achievements were no less than Jiang Yu's, all of which were achieved through real fighting. Their reputations had spread in the enemy camp, and the enemy general threatened that whoever could take the head of either of them would be awarded the title of captain. There are those who are willing to sacrifice their lives for military merit, but there are also those who are self-aware. Who wants to die in vain? Those who have some ability all rush towards the two of them, and those soldiers consciously stay away from them. Therefore, Jiang Yu and Su Qin face the most heroic soldiers of the enemy on the battlefield, and can also improve themselves, which is more challenging. Su Qin argued with him for a while, and went back to his tent. Jiang Yu then took out the ring from under the pillow, and looked at it in his palm. When he looked at the gold ring, his eyes were as gentle as water, and he did not look away for a long time.
To outsiders, he seemed to be distracted.
Jiang Yu thought, "Are you thinking about me at this moment?" Su Wan, who was far away in Kyoto, was sleeping soundly. She turned over and hugged the pillow in her arms with a smile on her lips. She must have had a beautiful dream. Jiang Yu has a plan. He wants to help Su Qin rise higher in the army. He already has a noble status. When he returns to the capital, he just wants to be an idle prince and does not want to take any important position. But Su Qin is different. He is capable and motivated. Only by making more great contributions can he be given a good position and stay in the capital in the future. After that, Su Wan was busy with business in Kyoto. He would meet with Shen Qingli from time to time. The two of them went out to play and go shopping, and the time passed quickly. Those processes have been done many times, and Sui can handle them all by himself, including decorating the Yuantang shop, hiring people, and arranging them to make soap, but he has not found a suitable candidate for the general manager yet. This is Kyoto, you have to judge people carefully. If you choose someone who only looks good but not really knows his true heart, that would be a huge hidden danger. Before we knew it, a month had passed, and the workshop had already started production. The weather in Kyoto was not very good right now, so the soap needed to be dried for a long time, and it would take about a week before it could be packaged and sold. The alkalinity must evaporate, otherwise it may be harmful to the skin when used. The workshop is preparing stocks, and the shop location of Yuantang has also been selected. As mentioned before, we will rent it for a year first, and then buy the shop after the funds are stable.
Now,
we need to choose a date for opening so that we can do promotion in advance, but the management issue is really difficult. I interviewed many shop owners, and they all seemed unreliable. They all looked smart, but they had a lot of calculations in their minds. They were all after the lucrative job, and because she was a young female boss, they did not take her seriously. Since they looked down on her as a female merchant, no matter how great their achievements were in the past, it was all in vain. It's strange to say, I didn't see a single female shopkeeper coming for the interview in Kyoto, only old men. Shen Qingli also came to Furong Cottage that day to teach Su on how to play the zheng. The two of them are now like good sisters who can talk about anything and have a very good relationship. Shen Qingli had already told her family about what happened with Su Jing. The Grand Secretary immediately sent people to Yu County to take a look and found that Su Jing was not lying. The progress of the Xuanhe Dam was steady, and the Xuanhe River was well managed by him. Small woods had been planted. There were few refugees, and the common people praised him highly. It is estimated that it will be completed in 2 years at most. By then, when Su Jing returns to Beijing, the emperor will at least appoint him as a third-rank official and allow him to enter the cabinet directly. So, the Grand Secretary agreed to their relationship and agreed to let his daughter wait for him. Now Shun Qingli goes out to see Su Wan from time to time, but she does it secretly, and the outside world still thinks she is sick. Mrs. Shin asked her to invite Su Wan and Su Yi today and to visit them another day. Mrs. Shun wanted to meet Su Wan. She heard that she was a nice girl. After all, her daughter praised her highly. Su Wan was worried about finding a manager. She had to go back to Xiangzhou, and it was impossible for her to stay in Kyoto to manage things. It was not the right time for her to move to Kyoto now. She had to wait until her elder brother returned to Beijing before she could come here legitimately. Su Yi also had a headache. He followed Su Wan to meet those people, but he felt that none of them was suitable. They all looked down on others. When Su Wan heard that Shin Qingli had arrived, he regained some of his vitality. Sister Wan, I have something good to tell you. Shin Qingli and Su Wan became familiar with each other. Her personality became more lively, and she would start calling her from a distance. Su Wan waved at her, and Su Yi quickly stood up and bowed to Shin Qingli when she approached. Fifth young master. Shin Qingli bowed to him. After the greetings, the two sat down again, and Lu Ying went to serve tea. Lu Yun, last time Sister Shin said she wanted to eat the shikima I made, so I got up early in the morning to make it. Go and bring it over for Sister Shin to try. When Su Wan talked to her about his early history of making a fortune, he mentioned shikima, so Shin Qingli was particularly interested and wanted to try it. Shin Qingli's face was full of anticipation. In the pavilion, Kyoto was extremely cold in winter, so one had to wear a cloak when outside. Sister Shin, do you have any good news to tell me? Su Wan waited until she finished drinking tea before asking her. Shin Qingli nodded and told her, there are 2 things. The first is that my mother wants to invite you and the 5th young master to her house. She wants to meet you. I gave her half of the goat milk soap you gave me. She liked it very much and praised you for being a wonderful woman who had such a wonderful idea. Su Wan and Su Yi looked at each other and laughed. Su Wan even smiled modestly and said, oh, it's not that good. It makes me feel embarrassed to say it. Looking at her shy look, she actually looked quite pretty. Shin Qingli laughed out loud immediately. Her maid, Lur, was also happy from the bottom of her heart to see her young lady so happy. Ever since she met Miss Su, her young lady's face was filled with smiles every day, unlike before when she looked listless and had no desire to live. Mrs. Shun has invited us, so we must prepare well and not break the rules. Su Yi was very nervous about this visit. Of course. Let's go to the street to pick out some nice gifts tomorrow and take them to the Grand Secretary's mansion. Su Wan didn't bring any decent items with him when he went out, so he could only buy them now. Don't be so polite. Just think of it as an ordinary visit for a meal. Shin Qingli's mother was a very gentle woman. She wouldn't care about these things. That won't do. This is your first time visiting a Grand Secretary's residence. Your father is a Grand Secretary, a first-rank official. Where have we ever seen such a high-ranking official? Of course we have to take him seriously. Su Wan looked like he had never seen the world before and made Shin Qingli laugh again. But it was true that Su Wan was very curious whether high-ranking officials like these were like those in TV dramas, sitting there with great dignity, wearing red official robes, with dignified manners, and intimidating without even being angry. What about the other thing? Su Wan just knew the first thing. Next, what Shin Qingli was going to say would be of great help to Su Wan. Haven't you been worried about not being able to find a suitable manager recently? You complained to me before. Now I have a very good candidate to recommend to you. After you told me, I went back to ask my mother if there was any woman who was good at business and management and who was mature and kind-hearted. My mother thought about it and thought of someone who was the most suitable. Who is it? Su Wan became interested. After hearing what Shin Qingli said, she knew that it was Mrs. Shun who recommended her, so she had to get to know her. Madame Yang, but she is already over 40 years old. She entered the palace at the age of 15 and worked in the Shanggong Bureau. Later, because of her outstanding ability, she became a female official in the Shanggong Bureau at the age of 25. At the age of 30, she became a Siji, which means she assisted the Shanggong in managing the expenses of the harem. However, there are rules in the palace. Ordinary palace maids can leave the palace at the age of 25, and female officials must leave the palace at the age of 40. Madame Yang left the palace to retire according to the law. She now has a house, but she refuses to admit her old age. My mother has seen her before, and she said that after leaving the palace, she also wanted to find something to do and earn some supplies. She has never married and has no children. She worked in the palace in her early years. Although she saved a little fortune, she has almost spent all her money on the house she bought in Kyoto after leaving the palace. She also has to provide for herself in her old age. My mother wanted to invite her to work in the palace, but Nanny Yang said that she didn't want to be trapped in the inner house again after just leaving the palace. So, I think she may be really suitable to help you. With her experience and ability, she can definitely help you manage Yuan Hall. From the palace, and was a senior female official, her 20 years of experience were not exaggerated. Working in the palace and being able to reach that position was enough to prove her ability. Besides, the jobs in the palace were extremely detailed and could not tolerate any mistakes. If there was any mistake, one could lose his life. If this Madame Yang was really willing to help her manage Yuan Hall, she could offer her a high salary. I naturally trust the person you and Madame Shin recommended. And as you said, she is a female official from the palace, and she will definitely be able to do my job. My job is also free and unconstrained. If Madame Yang wants to rely on this job for her retirement, then it is perfect. Sister Shin, please help me introduce her. Su-won immediately decided to meet this Nanny Yang, and if possible, he would definitely keep her to do things for him. It has been prepared for you a long time ago. This is where Nanny Yang lives. You can go find her directly. She has been out of the palace for 2 or 3 years and has been at home every day. Shin Qingli had already found out where Nanny Yang lived, so she just went there and saved herself the trouble. Su-won saw the address on the note and looked at Shin Qingli gratefully. Sister Shin, you are my soft-hearted god. From now on, I will take care of all the goat milk soap for you and Madame Shin. Let your people in Yuyantang directly report their names and provide it for free. I won't be polite with you for such a good thing, but don't worry, with my mother's personality, if there is any useful thing, she will definitely spread it to the noble ladies in Kyoto as long as there is a chance. In the future, your Yuan Hall will not lack business. Shun Qingli patted the back of her hand. That's great. Thank you, Sister Shin. I won't be polite with you either.
Su-won smiled sweetly.
The two girls were talking, and Su-yi couldn't get a word in. He could only listen quietly and laugh along with them. Stop laughing, be serious. You've been pestering me to teach you how to make tea. It's been half a month. How's your progress? Earlier, Su-won felt that Shun Qingli's skill in making tea was particularly good. If he learned it, it would become a skill in the future. It would be very impressive and classy to show off his skills in public, so he asked her to teach him. As long as she asked, Shun Qingli would naturally be happy to do it, so she taught her. Su-won was embarrassed when he heard this, and his voice became weaker. I've been busy lately, so I haven't practiced. Shun Qingli guessed it from her expression, but she also smiled dotingly and scratched her nose. Okay, I'll teach you again later. You have to learn it carefully. Su-won nodded quickly, being extremely obedient. Su-yi also smiled lovingly at his sister. Since you two are here to keep me company, I'll go to the shop and see how the decoration is going. The two girls were talking and playing together, and it was not convenient for a man like him to stay here all the time, so he had to find something to do. Thank you for your hard work, fifth brother. Su-won was not polite and just acted as a hands-off boss. After Su-yi left, Shun Qingli began to teach Su-won how to make tea. They learned to make tea in the morning and to play the guzheng in the afternoon. Their schedule was full. The visit to the Grand Secretary's residence is scheduled for 3 days later, and I will go to see Nanny Yang tomorrow. Shin Qingli acts like an older sister in front of Su-won. She always speaks softly to Soo-won and protects him gently, just like an older brother. She hasn't even gotten married yet, but she already has the demeanor of an eldest sister-in-law. However, Soo-won likes it very much and enjoys it. From now on, there is one more person who dotes on her. The next day, Soo-won prepared a bunch of gifts and went to Nanyang with Soo-yi, asking her to be the manager of his Yuyintang workshop in Kyoto. He thought it would take some effort, but it turned out to be surprisingly smooth. In Soo-won's imagination, she thought that Nanyang might be a person with a weird temper, difficult to talk to, and very serious, but unexpectedly, she was wrong. Soo-won stood in front of a small courtyard and confirmed again and again before deciding to knock on the door. Soo-yi knocked on the door, and someone soon opened it. The ones who opened the door were a few little kids, a girl and 2 boys, who all looked about 5 or 6 years old. The 3 radish-headed kids tilted their heads up, wearing flowery cotton jackets and pigtails, looking so adorable. The little girl raised her head and asked Soo-won in a baby voice, "Beautiful sister, are you here to see Mammy?" Facing this cute creature, Soo-won's tone softened. "Yes, I'm here to see Madam Yang." One of the little boys heard this and ran into the yard, shouting as he ran, "Mammy, Mammy, someone is looking for you." The other 2 also ran and shouted together. It was so funny. At this time, a woman wearing an apron ran out from the kitchen. She